कुछ एक बीप साउंड आ रहा है किसी का, आई डोंट नो किसका है, पूरा टाइम वो बीप ऐसे हो रहा है।
बीप हो रहा है कि हमिंग साउंड है?
हाँ, बीप एंड हमिंग दोनों है, साथ में है।
Now it has reduced.
हाँ, नाउ इट्स बेटर, फिर आ गया।
यूट्यूब पे लाइव हो गया सर अभी।
अच्छा,
मानकर मैडम, ये हो गया है लाइव यूट्यूब पे।
नवीन चालू करे क्या हम लोग?
हाँ जी जी सर, हो गया,
टाइम हो गया,
लाइव हो गया सर यूट्यूब पे, शुरू कर सकते हैं सर की परमिशन है।
हाँ, बकरू साहब परमिशन है तो प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट करें भैया।
आवाज नहीं है।
हाँ, नवीन स्टार्ट करने के लिए बोल दीजिए, सर की परमिशन आ गई।
सब लोग म्यूट कर दीजिए बाकी। Am I audible, sir? Agarwal, sir?
Yeah.
Sir? Okay. Shall I start now?
Yeah.
Respected dignitaries virtual present with us, Chief Guest of the function, President Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, Honorable Shri H.R. Bakhru, sir. Guest of Honor, Chairman, Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, Honorable Dr. Vinki Rughwani, sir. Guest of Honor, General Secretary, Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, Honorable Dr. I.P. Keswani, sir. Guest of Honor, College Secretary, Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, Honorable Mr. Neeraj Bakhru, sir. Today's keynote speaker, respected Dr. S. Lavanya ma'am, Associate Professor, KL University, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. Guest speaker, respected Dr. Raj Kriplani, sir, Psychologist, Nagpur. Guest speaker, respected Mr. Nikun Joshi, sir, CEO, Sarthi Trust, Nagpur. Respected Principal Dr. S.V. Kasbekar, sir. Vice Principals Dr. S.V. Tewani, sir. Dr. A.G. Thadani, sir. Junior College Vice Principal Mr. Vijay Patil, sir. IQAC Coordinator Dr. Yogesh Bhute, sir. Coordinator Women Empowerment Cell and convener of today's national webinar, Dr. Sucheta Waghaye, ma'am. And the team of Women Empowerment Cell, teaching, non-teaching staff, my dear students and virtual participants present with us, a warm welcome, a very good morning to one and all. Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya. Stepping into 50th year is an old premier institution in Nagpur, Maharashtra, imparting quality education to students in the faculties of science and commerce. Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, which runs Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, believes that the aim of education is to bring about desirable positive changes in an individual in such a manner as to meet the growing needs of society. In 1947, our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru ji, while delivering convocation address at the University of Allahabad, said, "It is for a university to lay stress on those standards of thought and action which make an individual and a nation." With all these objectives and aims in mind, the Samiti, under the able leadership of a great visionary, late Shri Kaka Tilokchand Rughwani, an eminent educationist, late Shri Dada Ramchand Bakhru, and great social reformer, late Shri P.L. Keswani ji, founded Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya in 1971. This institution always tries to cater to the needs of downtrodden masses by providing quality education to the socially and economically backward areas in the city. Now, Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya is a fully bloomed tree which has commerce and science faculties including junior college and MCVC. Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya has some more prospective plans to grow more and more in such a way that students can compete at global level. With such aims and objectives in mind, our mentors have always motivated us to organize such programs for the benefit of all the stakeholders associated with us. Today, we have organized this webinar. International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economical, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. To mark this occasion of International Women's Day, we have conducted the national webinar on gender sensitization and equity. To proceed with the program, I request our beloved principal, Dr. S.V. Kasbekar, sir, to give an introductory speech. Please, sir. Principal, sir.
Sir, mic muted.
Yeah. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Good morning to all.
Sir.
Good morning to all. हेलो हेलो
आ रही सर, आवाज आ रही है आपकी?
आ रही है?
सर आवाज।
हाँ
हाँ
ओके ओके। श्री HR बाखरू जी, प्रेसिडेंट सिंधी हिंदी विद्या समिति, डॉक्टर विंकी रुगवानी जी, चेयरमैन सिंधी हिंदी विद्या समिति, प्रोफेसर IP केसवानी जी, जनरल सेक्रेटरी सिंधी हिंदी विद्या समिति, मिस्टर नीरज बाखरू जी, Secretary College Affairs, today's resource person, and my dear colleagues. I congratulate the whole organizing committee for organizing such a wonderful webinar on a very sensitive topic, that is the gender sensitivity and equity. In today's world, men and women, they are competing with each other for their livelihood and for their comfort. A case may arise that one may become heavy on the other. The word gender is used to describe the characteristic of women and men that are socially constructed. And when we say about the gender, generally the misconception is gender and sex. The sex refers to those that are biological determinants. Gender refers to, as I said, a socially constructed, such as personality traits and relative powers. The gender sensitivity is a process by which people are made aware of how gender plays an important role in life through their treatments to other or people or persons. Gender sensitivity trainings are used to educate people, usually employees, to become aware of sensitivity to gender in their lives and at workplaces. Gender sensitivity essentially refers to harassment of women at workplace and at domestic level also. The reason for this may be uneven access to education, lack of employment or inequality, job segregation, legal protection, poor medical facilities, lack of religious freedom, or lack of bodily autonomy. The concept of gender sensitivity has been developed as a way to reduce barrier to personal and economic development created by sexism. Gender sensitivity helps to generate respect for individual regardless the sex and not pitting women and against men. Equality means promoting or ensuring that even a person or group of persons are treated equally. They should not be differentiated on the basis of their character of race, sex, gender, religion, disability, or even belief. To promote the equality in daily life, we should share household chore and child care equally. We should watch for domestic violence also. We should reject chauvinistic and racist approach. We should help women to gain power and more important, to listen them and reflect on their problem. Actually, the sensitivity it should be created at home because when the child is young, he sees that how the female child is oppressed. So to remove this inequality, to remove this imbalance, we have arranged this webinar and to make people aware about their rights. With these few words, I thank to organizing committee for giving me time to speak to you. Thank you. Hello, over to you, ma'am.
मैडम अनम्यूट करिए राशि मैडम.
नहीं हुआ अनम्यूट अभी तक उनका.
मैडम अनम्यूट. हाँ अभी
सर हो गया सर.
हाँ अभी.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inspirational speech. Now, I request our dynamic college secretary, Sindhu Vidya Samiti, Mr. Neeraj Bakhru, sir, to say a few words. Please, sir. Neeraj Bakhru, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Respected Shri H.R. Bakhru ji, respected Dr. Vinki Rughwani ji, respected Dr. Ishwar Keswani ji, Principal Kasbekar ji, all the teachers and organizing team of this webinar. Thank you very much for inviting me today to speak on this important and sensitive topic. So I'll not take much of your time, and I just want to say a few things which Mr. Kasbekar also just said. So there is a basic difference between gender and sex. So what we understand from sex is something biological, which we are born with, but gender is something which is culturally defined. Gender is roles and responsibilities, attributes and entitlements as well. So that is something we understand from gender, and it's very important for us to understand each other's gender. So that's why this topic is very sensitive, and this sensitivity about gender has to be brought up from the very beginning, has to be taught to our children from very beginning actually. So it has to start from the family upbringing, from the school education, then what we understand from the advertisement, media, socialization. So this is actually, this should be developed when the our kids are in adolescent stage. So because what we have seen is from the beginning, we teach our children that men and women are not equal. That is not correct. Biologically, they are not equal, but but they are equal when they want to perform any task. So there are a lot of misconceptions in society, like it's unsafe for girls to go out, and in many cases girls are denied education. Men have preferential treatment. Even when children go to buy toys, there is preferential treatment that girls, it's a stereotype thing that girls have to buy dolls and kitchen sets, and boys have to buy guns and cars. That should not be the case. Even cars should be bought to girls, and even kitchen sets should be played with by boys. So we should not discriminate in that sense. Even when we are grown up and we can help our mother and father, we are taught that boys are not allowed in the kitchen, they're not supposed to help their mothers, but that should not be the case. Even the same way for girls, girls are not allowed to go out with their father for some work or work in the garage, or when their car is broken, the girls are not supposed to help. So I think that that is also a very big misconception which should change in the society. And it's through these seminars, these awareness programs, that we can create this awareness. Uh, Another thing I would like to mention here is, many times we have seen, especially in rural areas or little smaller towns, that girls are supposed to stay in the house. They are
Thank you, sir.
sorry. I think I was broken. The voice was broken, or some mute happened.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. So I was saying that girls are meant to do easy work. That is what people understand when they are in the house. So people feel that the working in the house is easy work. I think that is not the case again. Also, we have seen that even in our blessings, when elders give blessings to the boy or a girl, the blessings are different. In case of boy, they say that you have to आप तुमको घर का नाम रोशन करना है, और गर्ल्स को बोलते हैं कि तुम्हें अच्छी अच्छी जगह पे शादी करनी है. So I think these kind of misconceptions should also go in the society, because we are very far now in our as a society. We have matured a lot. Even when when we grow up, when we get married, we do jobs. So even in urban cities, when both the couple, they are doing jobs, and when they come back home, it's mainly the lady who is responsible to, and actually not responsible, but is expected to do all the housework, which should not be the case. Men should also support them in doing housework, in taking care of the children. And I think today we have a lot of inspiration in the society, where a lot of women have achieved a lot. Just to name a few, we have Geeta Gopinath, who is the chief economist of IMF, Mary Com, Hima Das, all these are sports persons. Then we have women fighter pilots today. So so it's in the army, be it in the Indian Air Force. So they are all there. In the business field, we have Kiran Shaw, Indra Nooyi, a lot of names. I can just take many names, but there are a lot of people. Vandana Luthra, VLCC chairman. So there are a lot of people, lot of places where we can take inspiration. Actually, I would like you to share actually a video which I came across. I think it's very important. Can I play that video?
Sure, sir.
I'll just share my screen. Yeah, can you? Is it audible?
नहीं सर, आवाज नहीं आ रही है, उसके लिए शायद हेडफोन आपको नहीं करना पड़ेगा उसमें, तो फिर आवाज आएगी।
Okay. 1 minute.
आवाज नहीं आ रही सर वीडियो की।
आवाज नहीं आ रही है नीरज।
Yeah, so I think you could see that video and hear the conversation, right? So that's all I want to say actually today. I think something which we need to start from our home and take it to our education, our workplace, wherever we work. So I think gender sensitivity is very important. Thank you so much again for inviting me, and I wish you all the best to the organizing team.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your inspirational PPT and inspirational words from you. Thank you again. Now, I request our motivator, Dr. I.P. Keswani, sir, General Secretary, Sindhu Hindi Vidya Samiti, to motivate us with his words. Please, sir. Keswani, sir, please. Agarwal, sir, please connect us with Keswani, sir.
सर जुड़े हुए मैडम, अनम्यूट करने की जरूरत है सर।
अग्रवाल सर, आप
मैं फोन कर रहा हूँ,
सर को अनम्यूट कीजिए।
फोन कर रहा हूँ।
अग्रवाल
उनका मैसेज आया है।
केशवानी सर को अनम्यूट कीजिए।
केशवानी सर को अनम्यूट कीजिए, उनका मैसेज आया है। अग्रवाल सर।
सर अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा सर। केशवानी सर आप को होस्ट है। Now it is unmuted. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is something we are talking about, men and women. And before I start my talk, I will acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Shri H.R. Bakhru ji, President of our Samiti. Dr. Seema Rughwani ji, I don't know whether he is here or not. And nevertheless, he must be observing this on YouTube. Mr. Bakhru, I think he has left now. And Mr. Kasbekar, principal of this great institution. And he has always been taking his initiatives to be in the forefront and organize the topics which are seminars on topics which are very relevant and needs of the society. And the special guest speaker here, Miss Lavanya Madam, and organizers of this program. It is a happy occasion here because we are at our home, and especially with this announced, and we can use this as an opportunity to give thoughts to the problems which need a long-term solution. That means the chronic problems. So these kind of calamities or pandemics force us to be with ourselves and think about something which we have not thought earlier, because we were hard pressed for time. We were always running after something, so we could not pay attention to things which were basic nature. So one of the problem is the much talked about men and women inequality and exploitation of one or another. See, as far as I think that the nature has designed both to be of different kind. Physically they are different, and they have to play a different role. At home, if you see, when a child is born, he is from the day one he is dependent on the opposite gender as far as his needs are concerned. So women have to play a very important role in the home, and naturally they achieve a certain kind of dominance also there. And we know that how much dependent we are all there, because and women they have a 24 hours job. Recently I saw one cartoon, where on the road some work was going on, and am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the board was there that men are at work. Now the child asked his mother, why this board is written men at work? काम चल रहा है तो यहाँ ऐसे क्यों लिखा आदमी लोग काम कर रहे हैं? She said that women work 24 hours, so they don't have to put the board that women are at work. So that is the case, the women are always working, but they may not getting the recognition in the society at large, because they were considered to be a weaker sex in the long old days. When if you remember the song चढ़ता सूरज धीरे धीरे ढलता है उसमें एक लाइन है कि जर जमीन जर जेवर कुछ भी साथ में जाएगा. So zar means women. Women was considered as property in the olden days, because that is how they measured the wealth of the person. But those days are not there, because the physical strength has lost its value, in the sense that it is more mental strength which is required to come up in the society. And you see the children in your class, you will see that females are performing much better, because they are more sincere. Once they have given equal opportunity, they are coming out to be better than the boys. Girls are performing better than the boys. So this concept has social exploitation is still there, as women violence is there, domestic violence is there. But on the other hand, if you see that in 2000, men's rights movement was also started by Mr. Rudolph D'Souza in Bombay, because men are also exploited at home. The psychological abuse, and you must have seen the misused dowry act and rape acts also. So the balance has to be there as far as society is concerned. The equality, it's always one is trying to maintain the balance. Equality is one society is trying to balance, and that should be the case. Both the sides, as Mr. Kasbekar also said and Mr. Neeraj also said, they both the genders are competing with each other. So one may fall heavier on other at some point of time. So balancing act has to be done from both the sides. And as you know, the women have come in politics also. I see these changes in the society when first Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India, and she had, when the cabinet week meetings were taking place, they were all men standing in front of her, and she was the only person sitting. So she was the symbol of the women's liberation and how women can go to the highest power. Even at her contemporary Margaret Thatcher was also, equally dominant in Britain. Politics, you must have heard the name of Kamala Harris. She is playing a very dominant role in this politics. So we also have, the Nirmala Sitharaman, Vasundhara Raje, Sushma Swaraj, Shashikala. Even if you see now the Bengal election,
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, सर नेटवर्क का कुछ
आवाज भी नहीं आ रही, वीडियो भी स्टॉप हो गया है। हेलो
जी सर।
नवीन आवाज नहीं रही। नवीन
सर दो इससे ज्वाइन किए, एक से लेफ्ट हो गया सर अभी। केसवानी सर है ऑलरेडी उसमें।
क्यों, क्या हो गया? रुक जा, आधा घंटा रुक जा।
हेलो
जी सर, आ रही है आवाज।
चालू हो गया?
जी जी।
I was disconnected or entire thing was disconnected?
सर वो नेटवर्क का प्रॉब्लम था आपका शायद, वो मोबाइल का।
Okay. So when it comes to what I was saying was that when it comes to exploitation, then if the exploitation takes place, then we have this kind of issues, and we try to sensitize the people that, well, although men and women have to play different roles, but if outside the home women are getting lesser importance and they are being exploited, so they have to be, the society has to be sensitized in that regard. But as I said, that men's rights movement has also started because of prominently high dominance of women inside the home, and psychological abuse and other things also take place. So in short, it is a good effort by our college to organize this kind of seminar. I will say that both have to play, both men and women have got to play different roles. And once the one sex gets exploited, one gender gets exploited, we need to come forward and take care of that. So I thank the organizers for inviting me over here and giving me this opportunity to talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your inspirational and motivational words. Now, I request our enthusiastic chairman, Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, Dr. Rinki Rughwani, sir, to enlighten us with his words. Please, sir.
Good morning, all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Honorable Shri H.R. Bakhru ji, Honorable Dr. Ishwar Keswani ji, Neeraj Bakhru ji, Principal Dr. Kasbekar, and speakers who are going to enlighten us today, Dr. Rakesh Kriplani, Nikunj Joshi, and Lavanya ji, and all present lecturers and professors of this institute and all others who are there in this particular program. Now, not only because this is an important topic, but the people who have organized, like you, who are actually in the field of teaching. So this becomes more important because you are the people who can make people aware about this particular important thing. Now, as far as this gender equality is concerned, I think it is not that we have to tell people that genders are equal and all. We have to actually make them aware that this is something which is a law, which is a binding on us, and it is a human right. Actually, we have to tell people that this is a one thing which we have to follow. Everybody has to follow. Now, as far as the society's behavior is concerned, because I am a pediatrician, you all know that I get a chance to attend deliveries, normal deliveries and cesarean sections. And whenever I go there, I am the first person who comes out of the operation theater or labor room and tell the relatives of those, especially the husband or the mother-in-law, that it's a baby, is a male baby or a female baby. I tell you, I am practicing since last 20 years, more than 20 years, and I could say that I have seen much difference in the reaction of the parents and their husband, their relatives. So this is very unfortunate situation which I face whenever now slowly, definitely there has been some improvement which is going on since last so many years I am seeing. But that is there, it cannot be ruled out. It is there. So we need to teach people about that. Now, that means this particular inequality starts from the womb of the mother itself. And whenever the child is born, even after that, I have seen that there are many times, if suppose there is a one male child, another one is a female child, and both have got some sort of illness, they bring the male child to us and they give the same medicines to the female child. Whatever I have prescribed to the male child, this I have seen personally, I have experienced it. So this is all very unfortunate. That means we need to have a great change in this particular aspect. Now, as far as we all know that this is not only a duty of government, but it's because government frames rule. There are rules, but it is basically a society which has to change the behavior, and we such type of seminars and this conferences that we are organizing will definitely have some impact. But I will request all of you that individually also, in some or other way, you can also influence the people in your friends, in your families, or whosoever you see that there is something which is going wrong. You can act upon, and you can also have something to tell them that this particular inequality is going to, if we remove this inequality, it will give us a fairer society. It will help all the families to grow. So let's, every gender should be allowed to for voicing their opinions. I think this particular conference is going to enlighten all of us in a great way. We have got eminent speakers. So all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Now I request the captain of the ship called Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, Shri H.R. Bakhru, sir, President Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, to shower his blessings on us. Please, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, audible.
Gentlemen, today, on the occasion of International Women's Day, this webinar on gender sensitization and equity, organized by Dada Ramchand, Bakhru, Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, Women Empowerment Cell. A very good morning to all of you, and wishing heartily a very happy and healthy year 2021 to all the women. Gender sensitization and equity. Here, you should not confuse sex with gender. As my earlier speaker, right from Mr. Kasbekar, Bakhru, Kesmani, Rughwani, all have dealt with the very details of these two things. So now you should be very clear about gender. Gender sensitization refers to raising sensitization of equality concerns. It makes people understand the difference between sex and gender. It is the undue pressure which is on boys and girls to live up to established norms of masculinity and femininity. Girls endure unwarranted social control, discrimination, and domination, as just now Dr. Rughwani has told you. Boys discouraged from being emotional, gentle, or fearful. Gender sensitization gives a clear and precise view about gender and help to understand that gender is not about women, it's about the people, boys as well as girls, both are concerned. In today's webinar, many questions may arise, and particularly explain the role of schools and colleges in promoting gender equality among students. In today's deliberations, I hope the learned speakers will give answers to all our queries. My sincere thanks to organizers for arranging this webinar on very important topic. Have a good day for all the participants. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your blessing words. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Zeenat Kashmiri, ma'am, to propose vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Reema, ma'am. Am I audible?
जी मैडम.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A very good morning to all the dignitaries, Honorable Principal, Keynote Speaker, Guest Speaker, Principal, Vice Principals, IQAC Coordinator, Women Empowerment Cell Coordinator, and team, participants, teaching and non-teaching staff members, and dear students. Time has come to draw curtain to the inaugural session of one-day national webinar on gender sensitization and equity, organized by Women Empowerment Cell, Dada Ramchand Bakhru, Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur. The aim of this webinar is to create awareness among participants and students about gender sensitization and gender equity. On this special occasion, I, Dr. Zeenat Kashmiri, Organizing Secretary of this national webinar, take an opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. My heartfelt thanks to Honorable Sri H.R. Bakhru, President Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, for blessing us with his wishes on this occasion. Thank you, sir. My gratitude to Honorable Dr. Rinki Rughwani, Chairman Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, for sparing his precious time for us. Thank you, sir. My kind regards are due to Honorable Dr. I.P. Keshwani, General Secretary, Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, for his time to time valuable guidance in this respect. Thank you very much, sir. My sincere thanks to Honorable Sri Neeraj Bakhru, Secretary, College Affairs, Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, for supporting us in this venture. Thank you, sir. I happily welcome our Honorable Keynote Speaker, Dr. Lavanya Madam, Guest Speakers, Dr. Rakesh Kriplani sir, and Mr. Nikunj Joshi sir, who have joined us and will contribute their valuable knowledge with us on this virtual platform. With all sincerity, I acknowledge the timely help provided by our Honorable Principal, Dr. S.V. Kasbekar. Thank you very much, sir. I take this opportunity to thank our Vice Principals, Dr. Satish Devani, Dr. Anand Thadani, Mr. Vijay Patil, and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Yogesh Bhutte, who have helped us meticulously in planning of this mega event. I heartily thank my dynamic team of Women Empowerment Cell, Dr. Sucheta Mankar, Coordinator, Dr. Sangeeta Rughwani, Dr. Leena Chandnani, Dr. Sucheta Waghaye, Dr. Seema Acchpila, and Dr. Reema Kamlani for working day and night to make this event see the light of the day. I am also thankful to our registration and technical team for their continuous support. How can I forget to acknowledge my heartfelt gratitude to our dear virtual participants who have associated themselves with us as their token of love and sincerity for our organization. Thank you so much for showing this faith in us. I also take an opportunity to thank our teaching and non-teaching staff members and dear students for their cooperation with us. I am thankful to Dr. Reema Kamlani for her excellent conduction of this inaugural session. I love to conclude my vote of thanks with the quote for women that we are love, we are care, we are nature, we are encouragement, we are strength, we are all these things and a whole world, we are women. Thank you. Thank you once again. Now I hand over the mic to Dr. Reema Kamlani for further proceedings.
मैडम वो है नहीं, ज्वाइन नहीं दिख रहे किए हुए।
सीमा मैम,
Yes, ma'am.
आ गए अभी आ गए। राशि मैम अनम्यूट कीजिए।
Rashi ma'am, please join the session. Rashi ma'am. Rashi ma'am.
मैडम मीटिंग में दिख नहीं रहे ना।
वो दूसरे मोड से ज्वाइन हुए।
अच्छा, तो क्या नाम से ज्वाइन हुए?
सुहानी
आपको दिख रहा है तो
वासवानी।
सर एडमिट किया है, एडमिट कर दिया है सर।
एक
हाँ सर,
सुहानी
वासवानी
सुहानी वासवानी एडमिट किया है सर।
जी
सर मैसेज आया,
सर
प्लीज
उसका मैसेज आया है, अनम्यूट नहीं कर।
मैडम करिए, आप अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं कुछ। राशि मैडम। राशि मैडम आप अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को।
Sir, Abu unmute. Thank you, sir.
यस
Thank you, Kashmiri ma'am.
Hello.
Rashi ma'am, you can proceed further. Rashi ma'am, you can proceed further.
Rashi ma'am, are you audible?
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया।
Rashi ma'am, kindly. Rashi ma'am. Lavanya ma'am. Is Lavanya ma'am with us?
यस यस यस।
Welcome ma'am. Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya Parivar welcomes you on this one-day webinar on gender sensitization and equity. The webinar on gender sensitization and equity aims to address the prevailing notions of gender issues in the society and ways to address the same. It also aims to provide ways to bring about the changes in the society by addressing value like equality and equity. Cultural, social, and state constructed certain norms, customs, and stereotypes to look into women are not treated on par with men. Women face challenges to realize their rights, aspirations, and potential. It is important to deconstruct the prevailing patriarchal notion about women, men, and other sexualities. To bring light on this topic, we have with us Dr. S. Lavanya ma'am. Let me give you a brief introduction to our keynote speaker. Dr. S. Lavanya is presently working as Associate Professor at KL University, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. Ma'am is an educational facilitator and administrator for last 25 years. Ma'am is dynamic educational instructor with core competency and interdisciplinary inclination. Ma'am has experience in handling interdisciplinary courses like professional ethics, critical reasoning, and creative thinking. Ma'am is doctorate in English language and literature. Ma'am has handled many portfolios like Professor in charge for girls hostels since 2015, anti-ragging committee member since 2008, Board of Studies chairman of English department, Board of Studies member of Communication and Soft Skills Department of KL University, Board of Studies external member, subject expert for NSIRT Vishakhapatnam, course coordinator for about 20 courses over a period of 15 years. Designing lab activities, ma'am was resource person and course designers for faculty development programs offered by Academic Staff College, KL University. Ma'am has a very impressive education qualification too. She has done doctorate in Indian writing in English, PGDTI from EFLU Hyderabad, trainer of Cambridge KTK and BEC, master's specialization in women's studies, literature, culture, gender, and media studies, certification in applied linguistics. Ma'am has vast experience of over 25 years of teaching at college and university level. At present, ma'am is head of the department English at KL University, Guntur, AP. Ma'am is core member of Women's Forum of KL University for over 10 years. Ma'am is member of Department of General Studies. Ma'am has undertaken 5 non-government funded projects from year 2012 to 2017 in varied subjects like e-learning in teacher education, learning through mobile hands. First impressions, a study of non-verbal communications, and many more. Ma'am has published a book named Marriage, a Myth or Reality, a study of Shashi Deshpande's Ships That Pass.
Could I interrupt, please? Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you? I think that'll do. Reema, I think thank you very much. Rather, let's get into the actual topic. That's fine.
There are many
because
more
I had support
things
of
to say
many.
for you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I've been doing the usual things everybody does. There's a long way to go. We can move on to the. I've presented papers. I've done conferences. I've done all that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's move on to the.
Okay.
I think there's a bit of a delay. I wanted to share a few things. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, please proceed.
Yeah. Good morning to all of you. I'm Lavanya, and when Leena Chandnani ma'am asked me, I was told story about how our family is associated or actually has roots in Maharashtra, and we have abandoned our surname there and we have moved away from there actually. So maybe that was some root which is misplaced or somewhere that made me want to join this. And of course, all women who have had struggled to reach things with the support of both men and women in the family, when there is an occasion, we celebrate it. We share that. Okay. So when this opportunity was given to me, I said yes, because it's not about venting out the disparities, the discrimination, rather moving forward. Being an incorrigible optimist, I look at opportunities, I squeeze myself, make place, and make it necessary to make people understand that we can do too. Okay. Interestingly, before I move on to the actual topic, I really appreciate, I've been listening actually to all the eminent personalities associated with the organization. That is, I just note down, Sri Hari Bakhru ji, the president, IB Keshwani ji, the principal, Dr. Kasbekar, Sri Rughwani. I'm sorry if I misspelled anything or mispronounced something, pardon me. I really appreciate the good words that they have put. Very impressive what the pediatrician doctor was telling us about how things start even before the child is born. The attitude of the parents or the society implements so many things. And of course, the convener, Sujata Mankar. Very interesting to know that you have a women's cell there. We did a lot actually here, very, unintrusively. despite all the comments and sniggering remarks in the universities and colleges, despite all the many jokes that keep passing around virally across social media network, many people say, why do we laugh? Why are we laughing at women? And I said, men cannot live without women. They have to laugh. They have to think of them. They have to make fun of them. We are there. They can't, they miss us. So they make fun of us also. Look at it, the positive side of it. That's what I was saying. We don't have to fight and make joke of them. We can do it. It's not difficult. Okay. We should appreciate, on the other hand, I think that they miss us so much that they have to identify our different tasks. There are plenty jokes about how women are in the workplace, how they keep counting money, how they talk about cooking. These are the things that come out as jokes. Isn't it interesting that they have accepted in all these roles? I would look at it that way. Anyway, coming down to the topic, very interestingly, gender sensitization and equity. What do we understand by equity? If you look at the Wikipedia, it says equal, ownership. Just because somebody doesn't recognize the back tire of the scooter or two-wheeler, the vehicle doesn't move without its existence. I request all the people present there, we are equal contributors. We have our roles, which is our choice or we were trained to do. But without that other second wheel, the vehicle doesn't move. There cannot be stability. Let's not wait for somebody to give us the ownership or tell us you are empowered, you need this, you can do that. Thank you, I know it, I can do it. Let me be the chooser. Now, coming to gender sensitization, it's interesting. What do we mean by sensitization? Everybody talks about gender equality. Maybe I'm going off the mark. Maybe I hope the organizers wouldn't regret inviting me. But then I have a question to ask. Why do I have to have a mark? I am on par with men. I can do, if men can jump, I can jump. I can also run. I can also do this. Are we not actually elevating the status of men and actually burdening them with all that? And we are actually creating the competitors for us. Why are we doing this? We are women. Let's celebrate the womanhood. Let us celebrate our strength. Similarly, let's not burden men also what they have to do. There are plenty of, I heard, I think it was Hari Bakhru sir or somebody who was saying, I think Keshwani sir, somebody was saying, there are men who are suffering too. Interestingly, the men suffering is coming up when women are raising their voices. The reason is because it is we also are responsible to some extent, giving them the status like Rughwani sir was saying, even before the child is born, every mother-in-law or mother also wants to know whether her daughter is going to help in carrying the legacy or the name of the, the clan or the whatever. We are burdening even the boy. Interesting, the pediatrician has said that they are asking us about whether it's a boy or girl. It's so bad, he says. We are at the same time burdening the poor boy also. This is what I wanted to say. The guy, poor fellow, he doesn't know. He's a baby. He doesn't know what he's getting into. We force him not to cry. We force him to be stiff. Let them cry. Let them cry. Who's the culprit? It's we who are the culprits. And we burden them and then we say we want to compete them. Why give them the status? Put them down along with us. That's what I think sensitization is about. We are always talking about women's rights. Women's rights, somebody's rights cannot infringe on another's freedom. Same as what we say, we have a right to speak, to move around, to do whatever we want. I cannot throw things around. I'm not as insensitive as the man, if I may say so. I keep saying this to my students also. They say, boys are going away, jumping the walls, why can't I do? Why bunk? Take a permission and go. Why do you have to jump over the wall? Go royally, take your permission and go. I want to do this, go. Why make the same mistake? Why are we competing to make the same mistakes as them if they are doing the wrong things? So I think sensitization should start at home. sensitization. I was reading an article where they say education has a key role to play. Somebody else among the presenters earlier in the inaugural also mentioned education has a key role to play. Where does education start? I was reading a paper where the person has mentioned that HE has a greater role, higher education. Bhaiya, you have a seed, it grew into a tree. Now you want to teach it to possible higher education. What can higher education do? The deed is already done. It should start at home. It should start at home parenting. How can you bend something which is already created and unbendable? You can sensitize it to some extent. If there's no water, the tree will shrink. It can still exist. You can't even punish the tree. It grows. It has longer roots. You can prune it on the top, but the roots will not allow it to change. Maybe I'm not bringing it proper analogy here, but what I want to say is whenever we talk about sensitization, what do we mean? Consider them in the workplace, in the educational institute, at home also. People are talking about denying the education system. When we talk about gender sensitization, maybe in the urban areas, we find that it is only a noise being made by a few. How many of us are actually working in the rural areas, tribal areas, where this disparity is seen? The word parity, we talk about equality. Equality is not just by dressing like a man, wearing a power suit is not going to make me equal. I have to have the critical ability to think or reason and see what I can apply, where I can make place. I should have the openness to give the opportunity to the deserving man. Similarly, the man also, the whoever, man, woman, or the other, should have the open heartedness, open nature, open heart to recognize this person, this lady can do this. This person can do this. We are talking about somehow, for some reason, for some political reason again, gender is always is about women. No, it's about gender is about everybody. Now, when we talk about it, when we talk about equality, there is a notion, how can women be equal to men? Who said they are equal to men? Who said men can ever be equal to women? It's a challenge. They can never be so. They can never ever be so. I dare to say it before all the men, they had their support system. They had the comfort of going home and having somebody to sit there and talk. And they were kind enough to share their thoughts also. Imagine a man who is the leader, the person who is doing things, goes back and still has to have a stiff face, again take up the role of the he-man there at home, the head of the family who has to again sit stiff. How isolated is that place? Why do I want that? Why do I want that? I would rather take them into I would include them. I would have an inclusive property where I'm sensitizing. I sat with my husband and asked him what his issues were. My husband is sensitive. He asked me, we have this. Ab chalo, तुम्हारा college का episode शुरू करो. I'll give you the episode of my office. It's just venting out, letting out that little bit of discomfort. Have that few minutes of patience. You can have fun and go back. Sensitization is, if I'm listening, I should also have the knowledge, comfort, and openness to make time to my other half to listen to what they have. They also have problems. Most of the time, I notice some of his colleagues come up, we are scared to handle women. What happened to sensitization? Sensitization is not about only thinking about women. You also have to recognize there's another half who are also rightfully said by somebody, we are burdened them. Remove the burden. We are ready to take it. Women can do it double. When I was a young girl, I had this problem, generally in Indian marriages. By the way, not so nowadays. I think in the 20th century, maybe a little late in the 19th century, in the West, you have the older women marrying the younger men, etc. But otherwise, the system we are following is what we have been aping from we ape the West. We ape the colonizer. The colonizer is still stuck in our head. It is the colonizer who taught this society, the Indian society, the power dynamics of holding a particular gender down until we understand the power dynamics, how well it works conveniently. Everybody wants to take up. If I'm the head, I'll see that everybody keeps following me and I try to cut down the competition. But if I'm a great leader, I will groom the other person who's going to be the next leader and continue and give out the way I manage or the way I administer, take up my administration, make place for everyone, give a platform to everyone, and then you won't have the need for screaming our throats and shouting our heads off or I need my right, etc. And just by running around half naked or any other thing is not going to achieve me anything. It will only help in giving a cynical attitude, build up to that, push the other ones who are willing to come out and contribute, not give an opportunity. When I was a younger, like I started, sorry, I got deviated again. Yeah, women tend to get carried away very emotionally when it comes to these things. Zeenat ma'am is able to smile at me. Thank you. Yeah, I was, with all the education we have, the English education that we have, I was insensitive to the local medium. I thought they do not know. I know. Sensitization is not just about gender, it's about everything. Being human. The role we take up decides. The physical appearance is the biological makeup. Let's not club the two and not fall prey into the power dynamics. There is something, a word which is coming up in the recent days in the social media, narratives. To get a certain kind of power, you want a certain kind of framework. There is a lot of background work that is done. There is a lot of background that is done. You kind of present certain things, certain jokes, certain stories, certain incidents are highlighted so that people will get divided, either supporting or moving away. I mean, this is not my kind of thing. Thereby making that space to make your power established, to establish your power. Whether it is the discrimination comes in, it's a cool tool used for the sake of power. Now, having said this, again, not knowing all this, thinking that I'm the educated one, and in the neighborhood there was another girl, even boys, a few boys who were going to the local medium schools. I felt that I'm better off than them. I felt that I know world better than them. I grew up like this for some time. Then when I started playing, they were better than me. They were able to hit the ball well. They were able to play the gully cricket better than me. Both the girls and boys. What did my education do to me? Then I realized it doesn't matter where you are from. It's your ability that gives you. And they are my friends to this day. They're still working in a very ordinary place. She is working with the tribal lot. He is also working with the tribal groups. And you'll never recognize them as empowered people. They're very ordinary people. And they talk about empowerment of people, humans. They never talk about man, women, etc. And they incidentally talk about, there's the Datri organization which works there. And I've been associated to kind of work they do. They talk about how you need to understand the biological differences, make place for them. I hear many organizations, institute, corporates talking about, if you take women, they'll ask for maternity leave, they'll ask for menstrual leave, they'll ask for this. But what about the time they give the work? They never move from their place. They don't go out for a cigarette. They don't go out for a chai. They don't go out to stretch their legs. They compensate much more than that. Maybe they do not want to carry the work home. Most of the time I do find the gentlemen sometimes do carry the burden of their work home, where they are finding it difficult the work-life balance struggle is there. The men also suffer it. We should as women help them to understand this. How many of the women sitting here are mothers who have seen to it not just belittling the boy and making him swap the floors and cook, not just that, also sensitizing the girl towards what would be the requirements and how they have to be emotionally ready also, both boys and girls as well. We are also trying to look at, I was also happy teaching my sons about dosa making, and they do it quite well actually. And then they leave the kitchen. I said, Bhaiya, that's not that I'll cook, you clean the kitchen. That's the more difficult part. We are very happy he cooks. The leftover, the trouble part is that what goes into all that. And trust me, it worked better. It worked better. They're more sensitive. Then you get your exhaust fans. Then you get other things. You will not be blamed for it. Yeah. I heard somebody recently saying in one of the families, a very well-off family too, they have doctors as their daughter-in-law, two of the doctors. They're not allowed to work. The patriarch in the family says he wanted doctors to be his daughter-in-law, the daughter-in-laws in the family. So he chose two of them for the sons, but he doesn't allow them to work. He says women only go when they have to dress. They spend more than half their salary on their dress, on how they look. And they're so tired after that. There's a huge gap which only they can fill at home. And he says, that old gentleman said, and I was very upset. I said, what is this? You're talking about women dressing, so they're spending money, they're not contributors to family, blah, 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 etc. And he said, having said that, they're doing all this, I can't I can't see the sensitivity being given to the children in the family. I made a mistake. My wife made a mistake. My children also are doing wrong. I don't want the next gen to. I said, why did you choose the doctors? He said, at least the early years, they won't be everywhere. But then those two doctors have set up their own clinic where they attend to the downtrodden. He has done that after about a bit of persuasion of doctors. And when I talked to him, he said, nobody spoke to me about all these things. I was under the assumption, who told me all these things? My mother never spoke all these things. She only said, you are the decision maker. Now you have to take up the role. Now your dad is not going to work. Nobody to discuss these things or tell me these things. So gender sensitization is about giving them also, men also, their space. Now, recently, another thing that I wanted to share about equity again. Equity, whenever we talk about equity, equal share. In a GDP, when economy-wise, when we talk about GDP, we are looking at the income by women and men. We draw that equity. Similarly, when we talk about gender equality or parity, rather, sorry, not equality, parity. We talk about how many students are studying in the college, how many are men, how many are women. How many students participated in this program? How many men participated? How many women participated? We are left with only the number. Parity is stopping there, but parity is not that. Parity is much more than that. Gender parity is not just having the figures and the statistics. Fortunately, it is because of this parity, the so-called developed nation US, the UNESCO and other organizations realized that women are not even at the medieval level, the medial level, managerial level or top level in US at all. They are at the entry level, maybe it's a second level. Beyond that, they don't go to the medial level or the top level at all. They had to insist. They had to make it a rule. You need to have these many. And that's when you have your Indra Nui or your the Pepsi Cola lady or the others also taking the lead. Did we have maybe good or bad or whatever? We had the CEOs for ICICI, State Bank of India, all these people were already there. The sad part is, again, sensitization. We wait for the West to brand us. Sensitization, we should be sensitive to our issues, to our society, and we need to market it too. Thank God to the marketing gurus and the digitalization. We need to promote that more so and not sit there and wait for somebody outsider to recognize us. As I was reading through all this, and I have some scholars, actually I have about 7 to 8 scholars, 2 of them are about to submit. I noticed that when we were doing a bit of reading, like ma'am was mentioning, somebody mentioned about a cartoon. She's working on the cartoons, the linguistic aspect of gender, how gender is discrimination rather. starts at the very young age of, very young age, where the busy mothers, the busy parenting, the parenting which is much neglected these days. You make them sit before the cartoons. It's jumping. We don't really realize how much of nonsense is getting into their heads. So here it is. When we were reading through, I read a few articles which said they claimed that they were talking about the ancient India, which did not give opportunity to women at all. What is support? There's no support. When I posed a question back on the same article on the internet, they said our resources. What the resources? There was no resources. It's just an assumption which we have been gobbling up, which we have been habituated to, assume as what is our learning, the so-called colonial learning, which made us feel that we don't have any models. There is a huge gap. There is a void of information. It's an abyss. We don't know what happened. We only listen to it. If Indus Valley civilization was such a great civilization, why do we learn only about pottery and the kind of jewelry and nothing else? There's a great bath. There's a drainage system. This is all I remember from history. Why didn't we talk about the people there? Why was nothing mentioned there? Why is it a gap? We have only a few people talking about from the invasions that we have. We keep talking about India is a very ancient event now. You still have the Parda system. When did it come? We started imitating. Let's be sensitive to these things and maybe we can achieve the way forward. Gender sensitization is not about women or men or the other. It is about being human. It is being about, think in a human way, consider their biological differences, respect their spaces. The space, giving them the space that is required is also very important. And I'll try and share a video which made me actually thoughtful. I'm not sure, or I would request, okay, I can see that if I open my video, the net consumption is going to lock out. We did have a bad period actually. Could Leena ma'am, I just passed you a video in the WhatsApp. Can you just
Yes, ma'am.
if you can?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Watch that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Agrawal, sir. Hello.
I want the audio also.
Yeah.
Is the audio coming in?
Yes, ma'am. Just give us 2 minutes.
Is the audio there? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll start from the beginning actually.
Hello, yes. Mangesh, so our canteen.
Agrawal, sir.
Can we play it
Hello.
again?
Yeah, ma'am. Just give me a minute. I'll just.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Agrawal, sir.
जी मैडम बोलिए
As
ना.
the questions unfolded, the stark difference.
I would like you to start playing from the beginning. That's
yeah. So शुरू से start कर दीजिए ना.
Financial documents you're asked to sign. Have you bought a vehicle in your own name without consent?
जी मैडम बोलिए ना.
अग्रवाल सर, आपको वीडियो ऑन करना है. जो भेजा मैंने आपको, वो वीडियो प्ले करना है आपने.
नहीं हो रहा था कि प्ले स्क्रीन पे?
नहीं हो रहा.
आवाज नहीं आ रही थी.
अच्छा, नहीं स्क्रीन पे शेयर हो रहा था क्या कि आवाज ही नहीं आ रही? दोनों ही
शेयर हो रहा था, आवाज नहीं आ रही थी.
ठीक है, मैं फिर से करता हूँ.
जी जी सर.
अभी आ रही मैडम
Hello
आउट?
everyone. Thank you so much for coming to help
आ रही है सर।
जी जी
experiment today.
यस सर, यस सर।
We were of different ages. We were made to like stand in a line. Now I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions. If your answer is a yes, step forward. If it's a no, please step back. Here goes. Ready? Did you learn how to ride a bicycle before the age of 10? Did you learn music in school? Did you take any lessons in sports? And no, video games are not a sport, even if it has the word game in it. Did you learn how to iron your clothes while still in school? Take a step forward. If not, take a step back. If you can make tea or breakfast, not just for yourselves, please step forward. If not, take a step back.
In the beginning, I think the questions were more general. People were still going forward and backward. Questions like, it was funny to see like the cooking question. There were a lot of men who went ahead and then there were women who were going behind.
Do you usually make all the household bill payments yourself? Do you know the circle rate in your area? Do you know the price of gold today? Do you know the exact breakup of your salary?
As the questions unfolded, the stark difference came out visibly.
Do you know the details of the financial documents you're asked to sign? Have you bought a vehicle in your own name without consulting anybody? Have you bought insurance policies unassisted? Do you watch or follow the budget?
Like you think you're doing okay, but then you're like, okay, these are kind of important things that I don't look at.
Do you manage your own finances and earnings unassisted? Do you know how to invest in mutual funds? Do you know the difference between a mutual fund and an SIP? Do you make the investments for your family members or your spouse? Do you file your own income tax return? Now, everyone who's in front, could you please turn around and look behind you? Initially, when you guys started moving, there wasn't such a big gap. My question is, when did this gap start to occur?
The minute the question became about managing money, the gap between men and women became very clear and evident.
You know, women handling certain responsibilities regarding their own life, which were always passed on to someone else in the family or the men.
There was a slight unfairness I realized at that time. But at that point, it seemed normal. I was upset. I wanted to be at the front of the line. Like, why don't I know this? Why am I not confident enough to say, yes, I am able to understand this? It was quite an eye-opener for me. Because I always depended on the men of the family to take care of my investments and, plan my future.
I felt that obviously men are more into it than women. So eventually I didn't expect the gap to be there.
Over the years growing up, there was certain very traditionally masculine tropes that were assigned for him and certain traditionally feminine tropes that were assigned for me.
For women, it's practically debarred to learn to know and to focus on money.
I wish I had known from the beginning of my childhood and kind of thought about that I would be doing so much better.
Just actionable measures is what we want really.
That's all. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I was just telling you about the parity or discrimination between the urban and the rural differences earlier. Here is the problem that the urban women have. I think the video speaks for itself. How many of us are aware of it? I never realized until this video came viral, actually. I passed it to some of the friends. I never realized what my father gave me. I'm particularly stressing on this. He used to make my mom and me sit and read that bit about business, that page, in the Hindu. And I used to get up early in the morning, dodge him somehow, because I was never interested in reading that bit. I wanted to read the paper from the sports, but he made me sit. If not in the morning, evening, I had to read it. I never realized what he was doing, actually. That's gender sensitization, I thought. Now I know what I have to look for. Now I know what I have to ask for. Now, well, this is the problem. Do we realize that in India, at least, I don't know, In some corporate it is there. Most of them we are far better off. Of course, that's not a reason for us to, not talk about it. But you find in the so-called developed West countries, there's still discrimination of pay even at the corporate level, unfortunately so. In India, of course, you have, depending on the profession, there is a difference, whether it is a woman or man. In my institute, at least, I'm paid on par with the other faculty, along with the cadre that we have. We do not find that. At least in the academic side, we do not. But in the corporates, yes, it does. Incidentally, some of my own students whom I have trained for their placements, I was into that in a big way. They keep saying, in some of the instances, looking at the way they were contributing, they were paid better than the men. They were quite happy. And in fact, some of the companies have come back. We do take regular feedback. They keep saying, I think it's time we shift towards women. They're more reliable. We know they're going to set and complete the task. They have to finish it. You have to go and clean your kitchen and do things. You can't have it, half-hearted things or whatever. Even if you want to dress and make up, I'm not saying you're bound to kitchen. Whatever it is, you want to complete it and take pride in that little bit of work. They do it too. So it's better off that the work will get done. Of course, there are some other issues that are coming up. I'm sure these issues, the current problems, are going to be discussed maybe 5 years down the lane. But those students keep saying, Madam, we didn't realize what I used to tell them. There's a lot of struggle that has happened over 2-3 generations of women who have struggled to make it known to the patriarchal societies that women also can contribute and make a difference to whatever you start. So please live up to that, contribute and make them eat crow, as I say. And they are doing very well. Today itself, I met a girl. I would have invited her, but I did not know how correct it is. So she was saying, ma'am, I chose to give up my 6-digit salary, 7-digit salary, and I made the choice to concentrate on the parenting at home. Many laughed at me, but I thought, I remembered what you said. I need to sensitize my kids. I don't want them to be left by others. But I am doing freelancing and I'm earning more. Hats off to women who are doing both that. Can the men do that? Let's encourage them to do that also. Thank you for the opportunity and thanks a lot for the patient hearing. Well, I don't believe in a lot of PPDs or marketing things, but I believe in sharing things when it comes to women and gender, which is very necessary from the heart. I think I stuck to the time. Thank you, the organizers. Leena ma'am, thank you for inviting me, giving me the opportunity, and a whole lot of, I find the gentlemen who have spoken before during the inaugural being patient and understanding and giving different perspectives. If that is coming from them, half the job is done. Just keep pushing them a little more and they'll open the spaces for us. And let's not give up the space, what is ours, trying to get into other space. Respect our space, make it bigger and wider. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful speech from your side. And especially, I'm really thankful to you for that eye-opening video, ma'am. We are in the same position. Thanks again, ma'am. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Rupali Manzari to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries. Honorable HR Bakhru sir, President Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti. Honorable Dr. Vinki Rughwani sir, Chairman Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti. Honorable Dr. IP Keshwani sir, General Secretary Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti. Mr. Neeraj Bakhru sir, Secretary College Affairs. Respected Principal Dr. SV Kasbekar sir, Vice Principal Dr. Satish Tewani sir, Dr. Anand Thadani sir, IQC Coordinator Dr. Yogesh Bhute sir, Women Cell Coordinator and team, participant, teaching and non-teaching staff, and dear student. I, Dr. Rupali Manjari, Registration Committee member of this webinar, feel extremely delighted to propose a formal vote of thanks for the keynote address session delivered by our honorable guest, Dr. S. Lavanya Ma'am, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of English, KL University, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. Ma'am, it was indeed a wonderful experience to attend your live session. Need of gender sensitization is to create awareness among the working professionals about the importance of gender sensitivity in organization. Gender awareness raising aims at increasing general sensitivity, understanding, and knowledge about gender equality. Thank you very much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and providing such an informative talk and eye-opening video clip on gender sensitization and equity. We have really been benefited by your valuable guidance. We accept such a coordination from in future too. I also thank one and all virtually present today on this occasion. Now I hand over the mic to Dr. Seema Acchpila ma'am for starting the session 2. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you. See
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yes.
Please continue.
Thank you so much. A very, very good afternoon to respected Shri H.R. Bakhru, sir, President Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, respected Dr. Vinki Rughwani, sir, Chairman Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, respected Dr. I.P. Keswani, sir, General Secretary Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti, respected Mr. N.H. Bakhru, sir, Secretary College Affairs Sindhi Hindi Vidya Samiti. Today's speakers of the sessions, first the keynote speaker, Lavanya ma'am, then the session speakers, Dr. Rakesh Kriplani ji, Mr. Nikunj Joshi ji, our principal, Dr. S.V. Kasbekar sir, our vice principals, Dr. S.V. Tewani sir, Dr. A.G. Thadani sir, Mr. V.B. Patil sir, and all the participants who have joined us on Zoom and YouTube. A hearty welcome to you all once again to this one-day national webinar organized by Women Empowerment Cell, Dada Ramchand Bakhru, Sindhu Mahavidyalaya. Let's start the session. Let's celebrate the womanhood without wasting much of our time. Let's start the session. The first session we have amongst us. Dr. Rakesh Kriplani ji, who is consulting psychologist from last 20 years and pioneer cyber psychologist in Asia Pacific. He is Professor Emeritus at Rashtriya Raksha University. He is Honorable Professor of George Washington University for Peace, Florida. He is Director of Central India Institute for Psychological and Science and initiated first and the only Center for Excellence for Cyber Psychology. Sir has delivered 1,600 workshops to more than 600 organizations worldwide, and he has represented India at WHIS Europe Conference for Corona and Mental Health Cyber Psychology. Sir has delivered lectures and associated with Banaras Hindu University, NASSCOM, National Safety Council, Tata, Godrej, and Maharashtra State Cyber Police. He is a part of and team member and associated as advisor, cybercrime investigation officer, and trained with NSD ISAC. He initiated Cyber Avatar, cyber psychology program with Bhavans and associated with more than 40 schools. And he is the only psychologist to work intensively as Corona warrior inside the quarantine centers during the Corona peak with Nagpur police to maintain peace and harmony. We welcome you, sir, and we are privileged to have you with us, sir. I welcome you on behalf of Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya. Sir, I request you to kindly enlighten us on your topic, psychology of gender. Dr. Rakesh Kriplani, sir, please. Sir, Dr. Rakesh Kriplani, sir.
Right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this wonderful introduction and hope I'm audible
Thank you,
because
sir.
this is the key question nowadays everybody asking since Corona.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
before
sir.
we
Yes,
start,
sir.
we always ask this, am I audible? So hope I'm audible to all of you. And
Yes, sir.
on a formal note, I will definitely thank Sindhi Hindi Vidya Committee, Shri Bakhru sir, Shri Vinki Rughwani sir, Shri I.P. Keswani sir, and the Women's Cell for inviting me for such an interesting and the need of the hour session on women centralization, because from last, I guess, from last 1 year, since Corona has been there, COVID was there, I've been talking about a lot of things on Atmanirbhar and mental health, but this is the first session after the Corona some college has taken up on gender sensitization, and we have been noticing a lot of problems even nowadays into cyber also, in other corporate world also. And today we'll have a very different perspective about this topic, because I think when we talk about any problem, so there is always a causative factor behind that thing. So without understanding the cause factor, if you move ahead to the intervention part, obviously the problem stays back there only. And obviously the seeds are there, again the cactus will come up. The same thing has happened with us also. We have not been talking about the causative factor from last many we can say decades, about why these gender problems are coming up, why these sensitization problems is need of the time. So I'll just share the screen with you with a little bit small, just keywords PPT with you, and hope I'll be able to justify this topic, because it's a big topic. When we talk about psychology, it's always a bigger topic. It's a vast topic. We cannot cover this topic in 30-40 minutes, but I'll try to just cover the key aspects of psychology of this particular thing, so that this national webinar can be fruitful to all of you. I'll just share the screen with all of you. Hope it is visible to all of you. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
thank
sir.
you. Right. So I always believe from last 20 years as a psychologist as well as a cyber psychologist, always believe that there is always a cause and effect relationship of any problem. So our society basically has a problem. We always talk about the intervention part. Somebody says कि सर दुख रहा है, तो we ask them, okay, why don't you go for अनुलोम विलोम प्राणायाम? We never ask them क्यों दुख रहा है, why? Somebody says गुस्सा आता है, तो बोलते एक काम कर ले, उल्टी गिनती कर ले, 10 की काउंटिंग, तुम्हारा गुस्सा कम हो जाएगा. We never ask them why you get anger episodes. This why question is very important. Why certain things happen. So even our education system also, they will never basically encourage the why part. It's only the scientific application part when we talk about science, but when it comes to social, psychological dimensions of any problem, we never talk about all these things. And that's the reason why the children who are studying in schools and colleges, when they come out of the schools and colleges, the problem lies with the life skills part, because they're not able to have a decision making, they are not able to respect others, and many other problems are there which is connected to the application model. So initial first part, I would like to go for a causative part, why things have come up in this way. And I'll take you a little bit back, few thousands years back, coming down to 2021, and then moving ahead a little bit ahead. So to start with, this is a very irony thing, like a country, specifically if we talk about our country, where every god, basically we have a goddess. For everything we have a goddess here. Okay, so country where everything was respected, every woman was respected, and we have Lakshmi Mata for finance, we have Saraswati for education, and right from even from the warrior Durga also. Everywhere we have earlier the goddess factor in the mythology way, and we can say the religion part also in every religion. Even with Mother Mary also, in other religion also, woman has given a very good place there. But what has happened in last so many years, like pre-civilization or the ancient part, slowly, gradually, the more we got civilized, the more we have problem with gender centralization. In fact, it has been reversed completely. In fact, this education system or the social system had given much empowerment so that you can understand and respect women. But in last thousands of years, ulta ho gaya. Something has gone reverse. And sometime when I was in school, so at that moment, I asked a teacher, that was a big, always used to problem with me when I used to ask teacher a question, they used to ask me to stand outside, bahar khade ho jao, because out of the book, kabhi koi question puchne ka nahi, not to ask anything which is out of the book. So I used to ask them, ma'am, why these different lines for girls and boys in the classroom? Ladkiyan yahan baithengi, ladke yahan baithenge. Why was this? So she used to tell me, go tum bahar jaake baith jao, tumhare liye yahan pe bhi jagah nahi, you don't sit in the class itself. And I used to stand outside, why did I ask this question? So I used to think at that moment also, right from the school time itself, maybe we are pouring this thought, okay, girls and boys, boys and girls. But what is the origin of gender roles? Let us come up to this point on a very key factors only. So in the ancient time, we can see women were gatherers and men were hunters. So genetically, if we see initially part when we were into jungle, so men used to go for hunting, and at that moment he used to put up a lot of marks on all the trees, or used to go for hunting and used to bring the food back, and he used to know the locations because of this marking. So that's the reason why the cognitive mapping skill, because of this practice, the mapping skill was more developed with the males. And female who was caretaker at home, she used to take care of food or the food which was being brought to be prepared or the childbearing thing. And she never used to get exposed to that part. And later on, it happened that male came up with the cognitive mapping part. And in the navigation, in the Navy aspect, recently a few females have turned up, but in the mid sea, we can say there are very less female where they have been able to basically locate that thing. They had a disorientation on the left and right part. So neurological science says that the problem of left right part, the disorientation of left right has created problem because of the ancient stereotypical role which was being developed by the male at that moment. Okay, I will go for the hunt, you be here, I'll come back, I'll bring the food and you prepare it. She was not exposed to it. But later on, with thousands of years now she got an exposure. She got an exposure to the external market, external thing and threats and everything. Now pilots are there, now navigators are there, now different architects are there, maths, genius, Shakuntala, another thing are there, where the brain development has changed because of this thing. But in the thousands of years back, when it was a pre-civilization period, the cave period age, at the cave age, at that moment, basically the role was differently defined, and that created a brain differences at that moment. But another part we can see the condition of the ancient time in ancient India, women enjoyed a significant role, not only at home, but in society as a whole. So Vedic hymns are attributed to women's sages also. Dialogue between Gargi and Yajnavalkya in the basically Brihadaranyaka Upanishad reflects the position that women held in public sphere. The woman was the apostle in the Maitri Shakti. Okay, those who know about Upanishad and other things. The kings and the priests always held and propagated the prosperity depends upon the respect that the household shows towards the woman. It was basically a good and bad woman at that moment. If you don't respect a female, you're not going to prospect. This was the part at that moment. And later on, again, things were changed. So if you see, when we talk about mythology, again, when we talk about Shiv Shakti and Shiv Bhagwan, so we talk about the Ardhanarishwar at that moment. So even he respected that part, ki half male, half female, that was the Ardhanarishwar, signifies Shivas at that moment. So it's unified with this Shakti basically. So somewhere, basically in mythology also, in Upanishad also, in the ancient time also, there were stereotypical few things. And when we talk about the Mohenjo-daro, I was very happy when Lavanya ma'am, learned senior of mine, she even spoke about basically about the ancient part, and she said ki why we were not told about the people about the Mohenjo-daro and the Harappan culture. So obviously this was one thing which I found it out. The harvest god in Mohenjo-daro was basically a woman. It was a goddess, harvest god. So this is something, a very interesting thing, which we can basically find out even on research, that earlier also woman was respected much better as compared to what we are talking about gender sensitization today. So when come out with a post-independence period or the pre-independence period, I guess we all are basically more of cultural dominantly influenced or with these people. Like after Mughals came up here and after this colonial things came up. So we have a change in the mindset, change in the belief system at that moment. And we started adopting their culture where woman was suppressed, oppressed, and later on the role defined was changed at that moment. So a small story which I can just put up on the key points only. Like this was a family in 1950s, we can see. So before 1930, 1947, 48, before the pre-independence, we were basically focusing on independence and struggle. And after independence, we started focus on the family itself, and we started seeing the country to be stable, the economic to be stable at that moment. So 1950 to 70, we were stabilizing our country. And at that moment, we used to have a very big joint family system, Dada, Dadi, Chacha, Chachi, and everybody having 4, 4, 5, 5, 6 children at that moment. Young age marriages were there, and we used to have a very different role at that moment. So 1950s to 70s, in between this time, so there was a change in the perception, change in the family system. The couple of this family, he suddenly had a thought in mind, and he thought about independence, liberty, freedom, and economic benefit of the family, that if I'm sharing 500 rupees, my wife and my expense is only 200 rupees. If I separate from this family, I'm going to save every month extra 200 rupees if I'm sharing extra now this month. So they disintegrated from the family. They separated from the family. Joint families and nuclear family they shifted without knowing the consequences of the further generations and how this will basically manifest in the society in way of gender sensitization or respecting a woman at that moment. So you see, when your Dada, Dadi or Chacha, Chachi or your in-laws, still they have a very good tuning with the wife, tuning with their Dada, Dadi amongst each other, the respect they carry, they talk less, but they have a very good tuning among each other. So this joint family system was there at that moment, but later on it turned up into the nuclear family. Then in early 80s, then we again shrink to the family. Here we got into the family of Hum Do, Hamara Do. That was the family of 4-member family system. The disintegration again shrink to the family of 4 people. Then slowly, gradually, in 90s, we had into Hum Do, Hamara Ek Wala system, where we have a small family of 3 people. Again, in 5 years, again in 2000, near about early 2000, we have a new concept in India, in metros, that was called DINK group, double income, no kid group, where basically the child was basically abandoned, the child was not there, he was missing, and both of them started thinking about themselves, and they said, first we will enjoy a life, our ambitions, and then we will think about a child, go to a gynecologist, and then if it is conceived naturally, it's okay, otherwise we will adopt a child and will show to the Facebook the social responsibility to the society. This is called DINK group, which is very prevalent even in Nagpur and multiple cities, in metro cities, where the child is basically a late comer, he comes after 35, 40 years of age. Later on, again, I'm not going to elaborate all these things because this is a different topic, but I just wanted to relate this thing to the gender sensitization. Again, later on, the concept came up, the couple started thinking whether we really required to live together, required to get married to live together. So they came up with a concept in 2005 and later on called live-in relationship, where again the marriage, basically the institution of marriage was disintegrated. Again, in 2010 onwards, we saw the concept of singlehood, where the concept of singlehood came up, where now they think, I don't require a male, I don't require a female, I want to be a wanderer, I want to be a traveler, a blogger, or single rehna chahta hu, single rehna chahti hu, I don't require anybody into my life. So the concept of singlehood came up, and 2015 onwards, after 2010 WhatsApp came up, 2015 onwards, we saw the concept of me, the self-obsession concept. Self-occupied, narcissism, खुद से ज़्यादा प्यार करने का concept came up. So everybody started, they had their own world, they zeroed down themselves and entered into the virtual world now. So another part which I was seeing in 2018 and 19 before the lockdown period, and it is now surely precipitated, and that is called the concept of Hakiko Mori. So Japan is facing this problem for many years, this problem called Hakikomori, where Japanese youth, they have confined themselves into the room. A lot of people, not only youth, adults also, they have confined themselves into the room. They're not coming out of the room for years and months. कमरे के बाहर ही नहीं निकलते हैं. And they are comfortable there, not into depression, but they have social anxiety. They don't want to get connected with outside world. And Japan government is helpless to solve this problem with psychologists also, NGOs also, with government intervention also. I was seeing this problem from last 2 years before the corona, and now the corona is going to precipitate. Because when I used to ask a lot of youth and a lot of girls and boys, ki, okay, what you did last month? So they used to say, sir, nothing, I was at home. Well, acha, what you did? So I was seeing Netflix, Amazon Prime, I was watching movies, web series. And what about food? They used to say Zomato, Swiggy, I used to order from that. So I said, you don't go outside. बोले sir, अच्छा नहीं लगता. I don't like to go outside. लोगों से मिलना अच्छा नहीं लगता. शादियों में जाना अच्छा नहीं लगता. So suddenly I was seeing an early indications of hikikomori, and unfortunately this pandemic came up, and this hikikomori concept is going to now be a bigger problem in next 4 to 5 years, because a lot of youth now they are facing this problem. And once colleges and schools going to start, you have a very big challenge to bring students, college students and school students to college, because the comfort zone has now a bigger way, and many hikikomoris are going to evolve. So India is having 50% population of youth, and if around 10% also or 5% also turn up into hikikomori, we have lakhs and crores, like how Japan is having millions of hikikomori. So the purpose behind telling this thing was about the family integration, disintegration is there. The cultural influences which has been taking place from this colonial people and the perpetrators, those who have entered into our country and the areas from last many years. When we talk about global, obviously it's some big problem there. What Lavanya madam said, even in US, now also they have a differences in the wages also for male and female. Fortunately, in India, at least for the government sectors, other places, we don't have this discrimination, but there still they have. So this cultural influences which is there, and since we are cultural bound, we have so many states, so many languages, so many gods, so many religious belief systems are there. Obviously, we are dominated by the cultural factor. In fact, like if in Vidarbha, we have a different culture, in Shimla, we have a different culture, Chhattisgarh has a different culture. Whichever state you go, they have a different cultural thing and their perspective and behavior towards female also. If you go to Rajasthan, you find a different type of Lugai types, and other part where they go into the interior Rajasthan area, you find the female has a different role there. If you come to Vidarbha, you have a different type of Cosmo area. You go to Mumbai. So every city, every state has basically divided into the cultural influence factors. So this TV was bought, and we all remember we used to have a TV with a shutter with a small key on that, and used to put up a flower vase or a trolley there. Or jiske ghar mein ye TV aa gayi, he used to be a status symbol at that moment. And one single channel, baki sab mein machhar aate the, one single channel aata tha, but we used to enjoy that thing. And we can never forget these type of old serials. Bunyad, Hum Log, and all these prakar ke serials aate the, where Ashok Kumar used to come and talk about Chan Pakaiya, and moral values used to deliver. And the Basisi Ram character used to move the complete serial to make the family integrated, and the Chutki, Wutki, and all this have a stereotypical family role at that moment. So we were basically habituated earlier when media was not there, seeing this family integrated program. So media plays a very important role when we talk about gender sensitization or creating a misperception toward. So later on, what happened? The color TV came up, and the satellite channels came up in early 90s. And the family who used to see these serials, which were family integrated, suddenly they saw Tara. हर दूसरे एपिसोड में उसके पति बदल जाते थे. Every second episode she used to have a different husband. Then we saw हिप्पे पूरे स्कूल में डिसिप्लिन कैसे करना, and then we saw बनेगी अपनी बात, multiple relationship. Suddenly small family of these three who turned up into 90s, in small family of three, they had an indigestion of thoughts कि ऐसा होता है क्या what they are showing, and they thought, okay, this can happen, we can experiment these things outside. So suddenly belief system, the value system started changing at that moment. So we used to have a family communication in this way in 1980s, no TV, nothing. TV came in mid 80s. And before that, we used to talk and interact and sit together, ground pe baith ke, zameen pe baith ke, we used to have a dinner and lunch. Dining table also came up very late. And it was a complete interaction with each other. Later on, again, what happened? This white people, they used to think about Indian people, ki kya bechna, what to sell them. They always think they have such a big population. Initially, they came for gold, then they came for spices, and after going back, they did an R&D with us. They are very emotional people. They said ki Indian people are very emotional people. So they thought, why don't we basically encash these people? Inke emotions ko kyun encash karna? So they said, okay, do one thing. Now, basically, don't express your emotion yourself. Don't think about any emotions. We will write down for you. We will pen down everything. You pay us for that thing. And what happened? Suddenly in mid 80s, what we saw, greeting cards companies. So we saw Archie's, Hallmark, everywhere, card companies mushrooming up. And at that moment, we stopped thinking, we stopped expressing ourselves, we stopped knowing what exactly is Mother Day and other things, but we came up with Father Day, Mother's Day, Padosi Day, Knocker Day, Doctor's Day. Every day was launched so that cards should be sold out. And immediately we used to go and purchase a 50 rupees card. We used to write to and used to write from, and used to give to a wife, a girlfriend, or a woman at that. And she used to think, wow, what emotions he is carrying. But that was an outsourced emotions. It was not his own emotion. It was basically outsourced by paying 50 rupees from a American company, those to write for that. And suddenly we started shrinking in our communication too. So when we talk about gender sensitization, so obviously communication is also very important. How you express, how the family expresses with each other, that plays a very important. If the expression is basically totally faded out, there is no expression in the family, obviously there is no natural learning in the family to respect a woman. So obviously in schools also, we have so much of curriculum, everything, but in schools, we don't have a curriculum or a chapter respecting your class girl at that point, so that this boy starts learning respecting a girl, so that later on he doesn't sees him on a very vulgarity way or doesn't becomes a rapist later on, but that he comes across this topic when he's into a corporate, that you have to respect a girl, a woman in the office. He said 16 years, no one told me about all these things. All the curriculum was totally missing this part. Suddenly after 17, 18 years, 25 years, somebody asking me, now you have to express the gratitude, express the respect to a female. So cards company, basically they stopped our thinking process at that moment. But these card companies were not knowing this part, that after 10 years, they have to wind up the business. Because in next 5 to 10 years, in early 90s, again, everybody must be nostalgia with this part. We saw the BBM part, the BlackBerry Messenger, and the BlackBerry pin was a very interesting thing. Like what you have iPhone today, BBM was an important part because that was the first thing where two people can message each other. So what people did, okay, they said we will not give cards, now we will send the forward messages. So what happened? Somebody forwarding me a message, I forwarded further on along with the name itself. Even I was not able to delete the name also, the same emotions were transferred with the name. So what happened? Now again the communication got shrink. Initially it was basically with cards, and then later on turning up with the big messages. So we used to have a big mobiles, hathi ke bachcha, elephant bachche jaise mobile rehte the bade bade. Then it got shrink with the mobile also got shrink. Everything got shrink. So later on again, after a few years, people became more lethargic और सुस्त हो गए, and they said कि इतने बड़े बड़े मैसेज कौन लिखेगा? Let us do one thing, grammar गायब कर देते हैं. Let us remove the grammar, punctuation from that thing. And in later 2000, we saw the grammar was basically in the abbreviated messages. So YOU की जगह पे U, LOEV की जगह पे LV, COMA की जगह CM. So we again shrink the message. And in 2010, after 2010, the WhatsApp was there. Again, we came up with the new concept called WhatsApp messages. This revolutionized everything, and we again shrink into the communication. And now in 2020, we are now with the emojis part. So in now 70s, 80s, if I was trained to express a female or a woman at home, mother or sister or a wife somewhere, now in 2020, I have been trained to express my emotion with this emoji. So in 70s, 80s, somebody died, somebody family member died. I used to go there and I used to sit there and condole the family. Okay, I'm very sorry that your mother expired and I was really attached to her, etc., etc. In 2020, we send them RIP. That's the only thing we send them, and everything is being expressed. So what has happened in last so many years, the family got shrink, the expression got shrink. So obviously the way used to express, the way used to understand each other has been now everywhere. So same has happened with what earlier when archaeologists used to find a cave and they used to find a symbolical language there. And the language they used to find, okay, there is a bullock cart, there is a river, there is a deity there. So they used to interpret in this way, okay, this person is going into bullock cart and this tribal travels to the lake and reaches to deity. So same thing has happened now with us also. If I want to say somebody, can you give me a party? So I'm not going to write all this thing. I'm going to put up 2 glasses, a cake, and a girl dancing. Now you interpret this is a party message, basically. So now again, we have gone to the ancient language again after so much of civilization. After so much of learning and education, now we are shrinked into the communication and family. The only thing which is left is basically the telepathy now. You only understand what I want to say. यही बचा है आखिरी का भी. इसके बाद शायद हो सकता है ऐसी होगा कि मैसेज भी नहीं डालेंगे, आप खुद ही समझ लो. Now what happened? We need to understand the different generations which are there, how they have been presuming, how they have been behaving into gender sensitization. So I'm now not going to take generation which are not available at this moment, but let us take 4 generations which is there. So one generation, those who are born between 1945 to 60, so they are called the baby boomers. So baby boomer generation, आपके सास ससुर घर परिवार में बड़े जो भी होंगे, so they are baby boomer. These are the people, those who have seen the freedom fight, the partition, the struggle of survival, and these are people, those are hardworking, resourceful, competitive, goal-oriented, independent, and work-centric people, and survival was the important factor for them. So there was no luxury. A small cycle घर में रहना, एक पलंग रहना, it was a big thing at that moment. So this was the generation, they thought about the family and about the wife and children. Okay, मेरे को 5 बच्चे, I need to feed them, I need to survive them because we have turned up as a refugee, we came from partition or whatever, whichever community they belong to. So these are the basically baby boom generation, those who are methodical, disciplined, and when it comes to a family, this is the generation who wants TV news daily. Without newspaper, they cannot survive at home. घर में 8:30 से लेके टीवी ऑन हो जाती है, and they have a fixed time for the dinner, fixed time for breakfast, and morning walk is must for them, and they have a better survival ratio than the 40s and 50s in the family. They are much better fit at home because they have a disciplined life, and for them, simple living, high thinking. So this is a generation where a lot of children, I tell them, if you think that this generation, early generation, they have disrespected women or they have oppressed the women, you ask your dadi and everything, they have lived a very golden period of life where simple living, high thinking was there. They used to enjoy the interactions at home. So later on, another generation, I'm not going to elaborate much because we have short of time. Another generation is generation X, which is 1960 to 80. So this is generation called Generation X. So you all remember Devanand and Dharmender or this type of movies which you have seen, the romantic hero movies जो पेड़ के आसपास में गाना गा के पूरा खत्म हो जाता था गाना, and they were basically not a fighters, basically they used to not fight. So इन लोगों का कैसा था, प्राण और ओम प्रकाश, they used to be father of them and they used to जायदाद से बेदखल कर दूंगा, घर से बाहर निकल जा, and Dharmender used to go outside and come in the last, माँ मैं पास हो गया, मैं BA पास हो गया, और माँ बोलती थी वाह, and the happy ending is this कि hero पास हो गया. So this was the earlier thing where basically the entrepreneur skills came up at that moment. They took the job seriously, but suddenly there was a lower level of trust towards the authority, and the parental involvement was a distant key. So suddenly here, the disintegration of the family took place. I said in the 1970s, 80s, family got shrink and disintegration took place. And same time, this new generation, 60s and 80s, they thought about independence, liberty, and if you are mistaken at this moment also, they were not at all influenced by any Western people, like if you say कि white गोरों से इन्होंने हमारा घर खराब किया. This was not the case. Maximum it was there. That was called the hippie culture. Golden hairs, bell bottom pants, and कलम लगाते शर्ट के ऊपर बेल्ट राजेश खन्ना जैसे, and Hare Rama Hare Krishna type के. There were few people, but rest of the generation they were annoyed with the white people because their fathers and they have seen the freedom fight. तो अंग्रेजों से बहुत impressed नहीं थे. So this was not the period where they were influenced, and nor there was a TV, no media, no internet, nothing was there which we can say the cultural influence of white people took place. It was the internal problem. It was the problem of identity. It was the problem of independence. And during this period, now the women started coming up, and the gender sensitization took a very U-turn at that moment. So after this, a new generation came up called Generation Y. This is called millennials also. So this generation Y, I think maximum बहुत सारे आप में से generation Y में होंगे यहाँ पर 80s में born होंगे या सब millennials होंगे 75 to 80 के बीच वाले बहुत लोग होंगे यहाँ पर 40-45 में. So these are basically multitaskers. Those who want to put up a headphone, want to text and to walk also together. एक साथ काम करना चाहते हैं. Their boredom threshold is low. Their workplace flexibility they want according to the needs. लंबे घंटे तक बैठेंगे लेकिन अपने हिसाब से काम करेंगे. And they want long work hours but less work. And this is a generation, those who have switched their careers number of times. So initially 60s and before that, if somebody writes 2 companies in the resume, so people used to think this is not a settled person. ये इंसान settled नहीं है, 2 कंपनियां लिख कर रहा है. But this generation changed the concept. एक साथ 10-10 कंपनियों के नाम. And लोग कहते थे, वाओ, इसको 10 लोगों ने लिया है, कुछ तो काम का होगा बंदा, कुछ तो यूटिलाइज होगा. So they changed the concept of resume, and this is a generation who spoke about 94% for the children कि सबको 90s में आना चाहिए. Before this generation 60s and distinction was a hero of the colony. Distinction आ गया तो पूरा colony ताली बजाता था, wow, distinction. This generation 91, 92, 93 and now the concept changed from your generation. So this is a generation who talk about digital natives. They are technological savvy and unleash innovation. Socially connected, but with different beliefs, values, and shared experience. That's the reason I'm telling about the generation part. They have a different beliefs, values, and shared experiences. And they have less money to spend, slower to marry, late marriages, and children by choice, DING group. And this is generation who follow Ramdev Baba and dedicated to wellness. Work-life balancing चाहिए. सुबह उठ के शॉर्ट्स पहन के ये जितने भी वॉक करते हैं सारे, ये ज्यादातर इसी एज ग्रुप के मिलेंगे आपको. Eating smarter, exercising more and talking about work life balancing. ये सुबह उठ के 2 ग्लास कुनकुना पानी, एलोवेरा का जूस एंड नारियल पानी पीने वाले लोग. This is basically 1980s to 2000 वाले जो जनरेशन के हैं. So millennialism has a lot of different things, like they have a parent-child involvement, very intruding, trophies for every participation for children, and they started thinking they are equal to authority. But suddenly there was an increased rate of anxiety and depression. Nothing to talk about. So now the last generation, 2 generation, which is there, which you are training in schools and colleges as a professor, as a teacher, is generation Z. Children born after 2000. So they are called generation Z. So this is a generation who is basically 5G. And millennials suppose 4G. X is 3G. So basic generation Z, this generation basically opens up the fist on the first day of the delivery. पहले दिन पे हाथ खोल देता है. So the puberty has come to 8.5 years in India. And Europe countries, it is 6.5 years. In fact, in Hyderabad, 5 to 6 children, they had early puberty of 6.5 years. And there was an injection देना पड़ा उनको postpone करने के लिए. So this is generation where they have accelerative intelligence, acceleration of hormones. ये सब कुछ इनके साथ में आ गया. And now the generation gap came up and the belief system toward gender sensitization also changed. जितना हम बात करते हैं सेंसिटाइजेशन के बात में, ये यंग जनरेशन Z जो है, they think in a very different way. So Z के बाद another generation now, which is smaller children, is 2010 and afterward children, those who are born, they are called alpha generations. Now what is the difference alpha and generation Z? क्या difference है? So generation Z and alpha, puberty period is very fast, but in class 1 we witness nowadays the pairing of girls and boys. In class 2 children, we got 4 girls from one school, those who are watching porn. Class 5th children, they exchange nude selfies nowadays. Class 7 girls, they think virginity is a myth. So now the things have changed everywhere now. So generation Z and alpha, with a new belief system, with a new hardware, with 5G and 6G upgradation software, and with a new value system they have turned up into the society. Now this generation is a change maker, where we need to make them understand respecting each other, because they are aware about this part. And I will talk about this thing, how offline and online they have changed a little bit exchange. So when we talk about online and offline, so this is a small thing which I came across working in cyber, like we need to increase this thing, but we need a lot of cyber security women in this part. So representation of women in cyber security field is 11% up to 2013 to 19 till date now. And now 2020, 19, we have 20%. And the required thing is 3.5 million 2021, we required to 3.5 million cyber security expert. But this is stereotypical lot of things they have been done कि cyber security में female नहीं रहती है, and I am propagating in every college, in every schools. Like I came up with a center of excellence for cyber psychology at Rashtriya Raksha University. It's a national university, police university, only police university in India, and there is a professor emeritus, and now very soon coming up with a very big university in North also. So both the universities have basically requested, put up my submission that maximum girls should get admitted into these courses, because this is lacking there all over the world, that cybersecurity is basically dominated by males and female can do much better. So when we talk about brain and mind, when we talk about the causative factor, so brain and mind, there are two different things. So brain is a hardware and mind, Leena ma'am, let me know the timing, okay, when I have to end up, because then I continuously going to talk. I'm not able to see the timing. Let me know time when to I finish up. 5 minutes before that.
Sir, you can.
Yeah. So we have brain and mind. We have brain and mind. So these are two different things. So let's consider brain as the hardware and mind as the software. Brain, we can see it grows up to the age of 16 and a half years of age. And we have different areas, left and right hemisphere together. And this has different chemicals. We have different chemicals also in that. So brain is hardware, we can see. Mind is basically software. We cannot see mind. हम मन को देख नहीं सकते हैं. And mind has two areas, conscious mind and subconscious mind. This subconscious mind basically stores all the data in that. अच्छा, बुरा, दुख, सुख, experience, parental behavior, everything. All the belief system. That gets stored into subconscious mind. Any file can be corrupted. So the problem is there. The problem is not into the hardware. The problem is basically with the software. There is a virus in the software which was basically inculcated or basically powered by some external agencies, because earlier, at ancient time, we have goddess with us, we have the harvest god in Mohenjo-daro. That means at that moment, women were really given a very good importance, but slowly, gradually with civilization, we can say we got more uncivilized and we got a very different type definition. So mind is an important factor. So when we talk about mind, so the most important system in mind is the beliefs. What we need to work when we talk about sensitization, we need to change the beliefs. Now, what is beliefs? Beliefs is basically dharna. आप हमारी सबकी धारणा. So the belief system, with our experiences, with our own perceptions, earlier perception, it converts into the belief system, what have been trained, taught by the parents and the society. So now the earlier belief we always carry forward to the next generation. The moment this cycle is break, the moment you start breaking this cycle and transferring your own beliefs to other people with the virus's part, so obviously we have a better generation, a better society who respects women much better, because their beliefs are changed. But the problem is there कि mummy says to the child, beta लड़कियां ऐसा नहीं करती, and teacher says कि लड़कियां ऐसा नहीं करती. Everywhere we talk about the stereotypical thing where they think, okay, they developed a belief कि ये लड़कियों का नहीं है, ये लड़कों का है, यहाँ लड़के बैठेंगे, यहाँ लड़कियां बैठेंगी. So this is what exactly the belief is. So this belief is basically a monster, a small monster sitting in your internal side. At this moment also, a lot of people, those who are having a problem with the belief, they may be thinking कि यार कहाँ फंस गए आज, इतना लंबा खींच लिया, इतना लंबा बोल रहे, इतने सारे speakers, खाना लग रहा है, भूख लग रहा है. So internally there is a dialogue going on which is stopping you to listen to me, because this belief doesn't want to change. उसको बदलना नहीं है, वो रोकता है कि सुनना नहीं किसी. Don't listen to anybody outside, and it creates an irrational cycle, illogical cycle, and it creates a cognitive distortion. वो एक नजरिए को ऐसा बिगाड़ता है कि वो जनरेशन पे कैरी करने लग जाते हैं. So when we talk about earlier generation, ये 80s के बाद की generation में, where there was a Indo-Western fusion, where there was a cultural influence through internet and TV, belief system started changing. And a lot of girls, they started saying and talking to me and say कि sir, virginity is nothing sir. आजकल तो कोई नहीं करता. मैंने बोला तुमने कितने लोगों से सुना? How many of you have heard about कि virginity 8-9 के बाद नहीं रहती? नहीं, ऐसा पता नहीं है. But I know, because I have seen in TV, I have seen in society. But she doesn't have an evidential name and email कि किसके बारे में बात करें, because that is a belief system. This belief, which creates an irrational cycle, illogical cycle in mind, that is a biggest culprit. So when we talk about brain, so we have certain chemicals which are connected to the belief system and connected to the brain chemicals and even the sensitivity also. So we have dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, and serotonin chemicals. Different chemicals are there which are having different roles. So I'll just quote one chemical which is very connected to you, all of you, oxytocin. Oxytocin is a bond chemical. Bond ka chemical hai, attachment ka chemical, it's a trust chemical. So when I was in school, so at that moment, where I used to stay in Chowni, there was a well there, and a lot of senior people, they used to sit together and they used to talk with each other. So I used to have a small Pomeranian puppy with me, and I used to move with that puppy in evening hours, and I used to sit with that senior people. So my family used to say कि तुम उनके साथ क्यों बैठते हो, 70-80 साल के लोग हैं, why you are sitting with them? But I used to listen to the stories what they used to say. So at that moment, one day happened कि एक बुजुर्ग ने दूसरे बुजुर्ग से कहा, one senior person, he said कि that girl, she has come back home and the marriage is getting disturbed. So it's a big concern. The other person said कि okay, I think if she delivers a child, she conceives a child, उनकी problem सुलझ जाएगी. So I just laughed and said कि अंकल क्या बोल रहे हो आप लोग, वो husband उसकी wife का care नहीं कर पा रहा है and you saying कि बच्चा हो जाएगा तो सुधर जाएगा. How does it happen? ऐसे कैसे होगा? They said कि तुम चलो यहाँ से, तुम छोटे हो अभी, go from here. This is not your cup of tea. Go from here. And I went away. But after 20-25 years of my practice, when I was just doing some research, I came across one research which says that when wife delivers a child, so at that moment, husband secretes oxytocin, trust chemical. And that's the reason why many of the females, they say, कि sir, ये शादी के बाद नहीं सुधरे, बच्चे के बाद में सुधर गए. ये पापा पहले अच्छे बने and then अच्छे husband बने. The moment he was a father, he was coming back early at home, बराबर घर पे आने लग गए, and then we have a better life. Because the moment he picked up the child, oxytocin chemical was secreted. So this is a trust chemical. So this generation Z and Alpha, उनकी oxytocin में बड़ी problem है. इसके लिए they go for online relationship. They don't search for somebody कि चाचा का पास आसपास का कोई लड़का उसके साथ दोस्ती करना है. They go for online relationship and there is a problem with oxytocin. So certain chemicals are also responsible when we talk about कि sensitivity कितनी create करनी है उनके लिए. So male female brain has a different neurological science behind that thing. Male का brain जो है, it is in this way. It is not at all interconnected. Female brain is interconnected, and that's the reason female is 6% more intelligent than male. And that's the reason why female has a multitasking brain as compared to male. She can chop the bhindi and she can see a TV serial also. She can listen to a phone and roti bhi paka sakti hai, and वो सुनते हुए बोल भी सकती है. दोनों काम कर सकती है. लेकिन मेल एक टाइम पे सिर्फ एक काम करता है. इफ यू जस्ट सी एन एग्जांपल, जब आपके हस्बैंड घर में टीवी देख रहे हैं एंड इफ यू आस्क सम क्वेश्चन, ही पिक्स अप द रिमोट, वॉल्यूम कम करते हैं और बोलते हैं हाँ बोलो क्या हुआ. बोले अरे वॉल्यूम कम करने की जरूरत क्यों थी, बिकॉज राइट या लेफ्ट हेमिस्फीयर में से एक चलता है उनका. दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई मेल शेविंग के टाइम बात नहीं कर पाते हैं. एंड दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई योर कलीग्स इन कॉलेज समटाइम व्हेन यू स्पीक टू देम, वो पेन छोड़ते हैं, बोलते हैं हाँ मैडम बोलिए क्या है. बट a cashier who is a female, she may count the cash and say, बोले भैया क्या हुआ. पर्सन आश्चर्य होता है कि गिनते गिनते सुनेगी कैसे मेरे को, बिकॉज इसका मल्टीटास्किंग ब्रेन है. So male और female का basically they have different brain structure. 109 differences which I have taken from various neurological science. कभी आप लोगों का specially इसके ऊपर अगर सेशन करेंगे, we'll definitely talk about this thing. It's a very interesting and humorous thing कि इतना difference है दोनों के बीच में. Like a simple humorous difference which I can say, that is about the emotional aspect. A female loves to give surprises, but male को surprise से कोई connection नहीं है. That's the reason why female goes to a shop and वो कुछ पार्सल लेती है, मेक इट अ गुड डेकोरेशन, बहुत अच्छा उसको लिखती है, एंड शी डिलीवर्स टू अ मेल, अपने हस्बैंड को देती है. हस्बैंड उतने गंदी तरीके से फाड़ देता है उसको यहाँ वहां से. बोले अरे क्या कर रहे हो, अच्छे से साइड से फाड़ो उसको. बोले क्या काम की चीज तो अंदर है ना, रैपर रख के क्या करूंगा मैं. तो ये मेल समझ नहीं पाता है दिस मोमेंट बेसिकली कि यहाँ पे फीमेल जो है, शी वांटेड टू गिव अ सरप्राइज व्हिच हैज टू बी ओपन लाइक अ सरप्राइज. धीरे धीरे अनफोल्ड करना था उसको. मेल जाता है किसी दुकान पे, वो वैसा ही पॉलिथीन में लेके आता है और हैप्पी बर्थडे बोल देता है. फीमेल बोलती मजा नहीं आया. फॉर हर अ स्मॉल फ्लावर ऑल्सो, बट विद अ सरप्राइज मैटर पे ऐसा करके सडनली दे दिया. शी फील्स गुड, शी फील्स ओके. गोल्ड नहीं लाया चलता, फ्लावर लेके आए, बट इट शुड बी अ सरप्राइज. So there are 109 differences. Same like with analytical skills also. Like with male, stronger connection within cerebral hemispheres, optimized motor skills and spatial processing. That's the reason I say cognitive mapping. But with female, stronger connection between hemisphere, but analytical intuitive thinking. Intuitive thinking आपका इतना strong रहता है female का कि पीछे से भी कोई देख रहा है अगर अपने को, तो you get a clink at that moment, somebody is staring me from behind. And that's the reason why a number of time when you tell your husband, इनसे दोस्ती मत करो, इनको लोन मत दो, इनको पैसे मत दो, ये काम मत करो, he does it and he fails later on, and then आप बोलते मैंने पहली बोली थी ना ऐसा नहीं करना, मेरे को पहले से पता था. मेल समझ नहीं पाता how did she came to know कि ये इंसान धोखा देने वाला है, because she have a intuitive thinking feeling on that. So there are a lot of different basically male female brain structure also. So when it comes to brain and gender, so children begin to think about gender approx 2 years. So children believe that sex can change. Actually, a girl want to be daddy when she grows up. उसको लगता है कि पापा जैसे बन जाऊंगी, और वो शर्ट पैंट पहन के कई बार उसके सामने खड़ी रहती है, शूज में पैर डाल के खड़ी रहती है. She feels कि मैं पापा बन सकती. She doesn't know कि exactly वो ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. So at this age, children believe that changing clothes can change a person's sex. A boy in a dress becomes a girl. Children show a preference for playing with children, and basically, just hold on. So they wanted to belong to that particular group at that moment. So basically gender identity की अगर हम बात करें, so it starts early age में. So when we talk about gender development, so gender development has various factors which elaborate करेंगे तो बहुत समय लगेगा उस चीज के ऊपर में. So उसको बहुत मैं आगे खींचता हूँ थोड़ा सा. We have gender biases. We have gender biases with us. This is the most thing what we do basically. ये लड़के के लिए, ये लड़की के लिए, शाम को तुम जल्दी आ जाओ घर पे, इसने ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, लड़कियों ने ऐसे कपड़े नहीं पहनना चाहिए. There are a lot of gender biases thing, and there are so many things which are basically connected to theories of gender biases. हम उस पर डिटेल में जाते हुए हम लोग कुछ की पॉइंट्स के ऊपर में चलते हैं, because टाइम आपका बहुत शॉर्ट है. So basically gender roles are based on norms, standards created by society. So in the US, masculine roles are usually associated with strength, aggression and dominance, while feminine roles are with passivity, nurturing and sublimation. So why I talk about US, like since यहाँ पर हम लोगों को गोरों का बड़ा ही शौक है, जब तक अंग्रेजों का नाम नहीं बोलते ना तब तक अच्छा नहीं लगता. अगर मैं यही बोलता था कि रामपुर में लोग सोचते हैं, है ना, नागपुर में लोग सोचते हैं, तो लोग सोचेंगे इट्स अ वेरी वीक स्टडी. बट वी टॉक अबाउट यूएस, अभी तक हमारे दिमाग में अंग्रेज छाए हुए हैं. Anything which is from the US, we feel they have a proper study. Nagpur study is not good, so we never give that part. So basically, they saw कि there is a difference उनका role है. So gender socialization की बात करें, it begins at birth and occurs through 4 major agents of socialization: family, education, peer group and mass media. मैंने ये तीनों को कवर करने की कोशिश किया थोड़ी देर पहले कि मास मीडिया भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एजुकेशन ऑलरेडी लावण्या मैडम ने इसके बारे में बात किया. फैमिली इज देयर, and repeated socialization over time leads men and women into false sense that they are acting naturally rather than following a socially constructed roles. This is a very important factor. Repeat होते होते उनको लगता है कि okay, this is natural, यही natural है. They don't understand कि basically वो socially constructed role के साथ में होता है. और यही confusion आता है when comes to gender identity disorder और confusion disorder. इनके साथ जो तकलीफ होती है, ऑपरेशन होता है, इन लोगों का इतना ज्यादा ऑपरेस किया जाता है एलजीबीटी वगैरह को, उसका रीजन ये है कि ये किसी को आइडिया ही नहीं है कि दिस इज द थ्योरी बिहाइंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स. So the attitudes and expectations surrounding gender roles are typically based not on inherent or natural gender differences, but on stereotypes about the attitude, traits and behavior patterns of women and men. So gender stereotypes form the basis of sexism or prejudiced beliefs that value less over female. मैं इसको बहुत elaborate नहीं करूंगा, मैं आगे जाऊंगा, मेन चीजों के ऊपर मैं कवर करता हूं आप लोगों. So gender identity is the extent to which one identifies as being a man, a woman or another gender, and is often shaped early in life. Those that identify with the gender that corresponds to the sex assigned to a man at birth are called cisgender. Individuals who identify with the gender that is different from the biological sex are called transgender. इस पे मुझे लगता है एक और टॉपिक आप लोगों का है यहाँ पर, हम लोग इस पे ज्यादा बात नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि समय बहुत कम है. मैं मेन टॉपिक पे आता हूँ कि क्या कीवर्ड्स है यूनाइटेड नेशंस के अंदर में हम लोग क्या वर्किंग करते हैं. व्हेन आई एम वर्किंग विद वेरियस यूरोपियन कल्चर के साथ में उनके साथ वर्क करता हूँ, तो हम लोग कहाँ पे काम करते हैं. सो देयर आर 4 मेजर एजेंट्स, लाइक आई सेड, फैमिली, एजुकेशन, पीयर ग्रुप, मास एजेंट्स, ये सारे हैं और इन्हीं के साथ में मेजर काम करना है हम लोग को. स्टडीज सजेस्ट दैट द चिल्ड्रन डेवलप जेंडर आइडेंटिटी इन 3 डिस्टिंक्ट स्टेजेस. सो व्हाट toddlers and preschools, children learn about definite characteristics and socialized aspects of gender. Around 5 to 7, gender identity becomes rigid in process known as consolidation. After this, a peak of rigidity, fluidity returns, and socially defined gender roles relax somewhat. ये बेसिकली 5 से 7 साल के बीच में सबको हम लोग उनकी आइडेंटिटी को लेके फोर्स करते हुए हम लोग लेके आते हैं. So when it comes to gender, masculinity and femininity, gender means psychological aspects of behavior related to masculinity. It's a psychological aspect. Gender एक psychological aspect है उसके behavior को लेके. So does not have the same meaning of sex. सबसे important जो पूरे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में हमको बताना है कि जो भाकरू सर ने भी स्टार्ट में ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात कहा कि जेंडर डजंट मीन सेक्स. उन्होंने स्टार्ट में ये बात कहा. सो सेक्स इज रिलेटेड मैनी फैक्टर्स लाइक एस्ट्रोजन, क्रोमोसोमल, हार्मोनल और दुनिया भर के हमारे जो केमिकल्स हैं उससे कनेक्टेड है वो. एंड मदर एंड जेंडर इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर. ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर है, स्पेशली मॉडिफाइड बाय हर ओन एक्सपेक्टेशंस. मदर की खुद की एक्सपेक्टेशंस, relationship with husband, her parental behavior, and the manner she expresses what I spoke about the expression earlier, expresses in society. This also creates a maleness or femaleness of the child. In last 20-25 years during my practice, what I have seen, lot of children now they have a big problem when they see the stereotypical male and female gender roles at home. Mother now becoming very strong, and even the male child is also now more connected to mother, earlier also, now also, and female is also more connected. They try to identify themselves into the mother. Father becoming, because of the lack of social system, support system, and disintegrated family, he is becoming more weaker nowadays. Female has more good exposure, more good intelligence, brain interconnection, connectivity, and 109 different plus points than male, where she has basically needs to apply now into day-to-day life. So as I said, key communication and gender has a big role. You need to express for that thing. And when it comes to career and gender, this is also a big factor. A lot of parents, they come down to me, what Dr. Rughwani sir said, ki they basically have a different type of facial expression or reactions the moment he discloses to somebody. Same when it comes to career counseling. I've been counseling for so many children from last so many years. Every year, thousands of children, they come for counseling. I see when I talk to them about some careers, the parents say, नहीं sir, ये तो लड़की है ना, how can she go for that? नहीं sir, लड़की वाले career बताइए, लड़कियों वाले career बताइए. And then I make them explain all this them कि लड़कियों वाला लड़कों वाला career कुछ नहीं होता, career होता है. She can be much better equipped and trained than the male at this moment. So then the father thinks कि मेरी wife को भी ये बहुत अच्छा था, but at that moment I was not knowing the facts of this scientific thing. Otherwise she could have been a better professional than me. And this I realized at this moment. So a lot of parents, a lot of families, they don't know the neurological, psychological, social, educational science of gender sensitivity, and that's the reason why children or the generation X and Y as well as Z, they are not able to respect at workplace, they're not able to respect at home, because they feel it's basically a dominant gender. They don't know the scientific aspect of that. So this generation understands science. The moment you make them understand with the scientific aspect, with the science knowledge, surely they are going to accept this part. The way you say it, they have a multitasking brain. They cannot deny this thing because it's a neurological science that female has a multitasking brain. They cannot say कि नहीं sir ऐसा नहीं होता. They have to accept that part, and this we have a better quality of life or society in coming time. So let's fulfill the goals of United Nations and UNDC. We have sustainable goals, and there they have a basic point clause for that: achieving gender equality, empowering all women and girls all over the world. And we'll be trying to fulfill this goal through various programs in Sri Lanka and other places, and been now a peace ambassador for Sri Lanka from last 2 years. We'll be working on this thing. They have conferred me as a peace ambassador for Sri Lanka, and we'll be working on this particular goal from last 2 years. But when it comes to India, I said I really feel good at this moment, like this college and Sindhu Vidya Committee, basically they have organized such an interesting topic, which was a need of the time, which was required at this moment. And last 1 year during the pandemic period, I think this is the first topic where any college has organized. They are asking for various pandemic and other programs. So I think this is Principal Kasbekar sir, Rughwani madam, and Leena madam, all of them, those who have been working hard for this. And thank you all of you for this thing. And with this, I'll give up my words for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Kriplani, sir.
Yeah.
It was really, really wonderful session, and we could not even imagine that how much time it took, and it was really very wonderful. So let's not compare and compete with anybody. Let's not be stereotyped. And the way you told, like from the beginning, from the ancient times, how the family was, it was so large, and now the people want to be only single. That is me. So that was really wonderful. From so many members in the family to single. And the main thing, the other name which we heard is DINK, that is dual income, no kids. So that is totally different concept now the people are having. And the Hekikomori, really, sir, I would say that even our children, when we will ask them to go to school, I don't think they'll be ready very this thing. So Hekikomori, that is a hibernation type. So it's really, really good, sir.
Yeah, I was going to say it.
It's really very good, sir. And so that is the behavioral differences which we have seen in gender. So thank you so much, sir. You have told us about the various expressions, the importance, the people are like we should have the behavioral differences which are there in various areas. So thank you so much, sir. From the greatest to silent to baby boomers to 3G, 4G and 5G. Really, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now I would like to invite, thank you, sir. And one more thing, sir, happy chemicals. That was really new to us. And thank you so much, sir, once again. I would like to invite Dr. Ragini Marganwar, ma'am, to propose vote of thanks. Ragini, ma'am. Ragini, ma'am.
नहीं आ रही आवाज राखी.
She was with us.
नहीं अभी भी नहीं आ रही.
Yes, she's there. Yes, Ragini, ma'am.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for the delay, ma'am.
No problem.
Thank you so much, Seema ma'am. Very good afternoon to one and all present here virtually. At the outset, I, Dr. Ragini Marganwar, member of Technical Committee, on behalf of Women Empowerment Cell, Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Rakesh Kriplani sir, a very well-known psychologist. As I can say, he is a cyber psychologist, especially from Nagpur, for enlightening us a very valuable information on today's scenario on gender equality through his wonderful presentation on a gender psychology in a today's consent. Sir, you explained very wonderfully how in ancient era men was going to hunting and develop a cognitive skill or a mapping skill than a female, because a female have to stay at the home to take care of children, and how nowadays a stereotypic pattern is changed and women are in a navigation and mathematician sector like a Shakuntala. Sir, you also explained how the joint family turns to the nuclear family, then Dink group, live-in relationship, and how the generation gap comes up from baby boomers to the Z and alpha group, and how the oxytocin hormone responsible for that type of feeling. Even though, sir, there are so many things as you explain us, and we enjoyed a lot. That is, women are multitasking brain with a very cognitive mapping, like also. So, sir, it was a wonderful experience to attend your live session, and we extend such a coordination from you for a future also. And thank you once again, sir. It was a very wonderful session. Now I request Dr. Seema Acchpila ma'am to take over the session for further proceeding.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ragini ma'am. So let's move towards the next session. I would like to invite a guest, Mr. Nikun Joshi, sir. I hope he is with us. Nikun Joshi, sir.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
here.
ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We welcome you, sir. We have Mr. Nikun Joshi, sir, with us, who is the project manager and CEO of Sarthi Trust. He is associated with this organization since 2006. And he started working with Sarthi as a volunteer, but slowly, he is promoted as a position of CEO. With his hard work, he successfully transited the project of Tarang from Award Society, Mumbai to Maharashtra AIDS Control Society. Because of his passion, teamwork, and good leadership, project has selected as best project in Maharashtra state amongst all intervened projects. We are lucky to have you with us, sir, as a guest. I extend you a warm welcome to you, sir, on behalf of SMV-Women Cell and the whole staff of DRB Sindhu, that is Dada, Ramchand, Bakhru, Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, and Sindhi Indi Vidya Samiti. We welcome you, sir. I would request you to kindly enlighten us and speak on the topic gender stereotype and women rights. Please, sir. Nikun, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Nikun Joshi, and I'm working as a CEO at Sarthi Trust, Nagpur. And also, I am a master trainer with NACO, that is National AIDS Control Organization. We give training to all the NGOs who are working for the HIV/AIDS awareness program. And I'm really want to thank Sindhu Mahavidyalaya that they have given us chance to speak about various genders, sex and sexuality. And really all the speakers were amazing. And so let's begin with the topic, that is gender sensitization and equity. Yes, if I'm not wrong, this is the topic, right? So gender sensitization and equity. When we talk about gender sensitization, मैं इतनी देर से सुन रहा था, मैं दो speakers भी ये सब बात करें. So first we have to know that how many types of gender are there. Actually, when it comes to gender, we only talk about male and female only. But why don't we talk about transgenders also? When we are talking about equity, so for equity, before that equity, we have to do the equality. And for the equality part, we have to take all the genders very equally. Then and only we talk about women empowerment, we talk about men empowerment. What about the transgender empowerment? Transgender is a community which is like from the very in a historic time, everywhere there were male, female, and transgenders. But we always forget to consider or talk about this community also. So first we have to know that how many type of genders are there actually. When it comes to gender, we always like always it was Women's Day or wherever we talk, like, so everyone give like sympathy will be a wrong word nowadays. Empathy works. So we always talk about women's empowerment, but what about the transgender people? Their situation in our country is very worse than women also, starting from the education system, from the family background or to the employment system. We cannot see a male is studying, a female is studying, but where are the transgender people who are studying or working or they are visible? Unfortunately, the transgender community in India or the authentic Hijra communities in India, they are still in the begging system, and they are still begging. They are going for monkeys, they are going to the trains, and they are surviving their life. We cannot see any transgender who is working equally, parallelly to the male and the female community or with the sexes. So first of all, we have to know that if you found in the Google also, there are how many types of genders are there in. So somebody says there are 7 type of gender, somebody says there are 78 type of gender or 3 type of gender. So first there should be a clarity how many type of genders are there actually, and we have to talk or work towards the all genders for the all development of the all gender or all empowerment of the all genders also, including the transgender community also. So we will be starting about, there are 4 different things that as earlier that Rakesh sir has told, that there is difference between sex and gender. Sex is completely biological and gender is completely societal. I'd say there are 4 type of things, that is sex, gender, gender identity, and sexuality. As we have discussed about sex and gender, sex is completely biological. For example, अगर कोई बच्चा पैदा होता है, जैसे रुगवानी सर ने भी बोला था, अगर उसे लिंग है या penis है, तो the doctor will give him identification of male. If the baby is having yoni or vagina, the doctor will identify them as female. But a person who is having both penis or vagina, or none, or one half developed, or not situated at its correct anatomical place, then the individual will be known as intersex, not a transgender or hijra, but we call them as transgenders. That we have to know that there are intersex people also. So they are not transgenders. Many people say male, female, and others. So this word others or etc has, जब कब लगाते हैं हम others या etc, जिस चीज का हमें knowledge नहीं होता है. We are in 2021, so we have to know that how many types of gender are actually there in sexes, और या कितने type की sexuality होती है. So sex is completely biological, gender is completely societal, जिससे देख के आप identify करते हैं कि इसका gender क्या होगा without any physical verification. So and again coming to gender identity, हर किसी की अपनी एक gender identity भी होती है. Gender identity खुद पे निर्धारित होती है कि one himself or herself what identify, whether the gender identity can be matched with it where it's birth sex or not. It can be matched or it cannot be matched. Gender identity completely depend होता है अपने ऊपर कि हम अपना gender क्या identify करते हैं. And the 4th thing is sexuality. Sexuality is attraction, or in other word you can say sexuality is sexual orientation or sexual preference also. हर किसी का अपना एक sexuality होता है, but हमारे एक saddest जो हमारा education system है, वहाँ पे कहीं पे भी हमको सेक्स, जेंडर या जेंडर आइडेंटिटी या सेक्सुअलिटी के बारे में पढ़ाया नहीं जाता है. तो हर किसी को अपनी अपनी सेक्सुअलिटी भी होती है, अपना सेक्सुअल ओरिएंटेशन भी होता है, या उसे सेक्सुअल आइडेंटिटी भी बोल सकते हैं. बट सेक्सुअलिटी इसके बारे में पता नहीं गया है. जो हम देखते सुनी सुनाई बातें हम आते हैं. So being a male, we have to attracted towards female only, or female we have to be attracted towards male only. But what about the people who are attracted towards same sexes? What about the LGBTQ community? So the attraction is not just only physical. There are four kind of attraction, that is physical, romantical, mental, and emotionally. If a person is, ये अगर चार तरीके से अगर किसी की तरफ अट्रैक्टेड होता है तो वो उसकी सेक्सुअलिटी होती है. तो हर किसी की अपनी एक सेक्सुअलिटी होती है. बट जो LGBT कम्युनिटी के लोग होते हैं, दैट इज लेस्बियन, गे, बाइसेक्सुअल और ट्रांसजेंडर, क्यूअर, इंटरसेक्स पीपल, उनके लिए बहुत डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होता है सोसाइटी में. जेंडर तो बहुत दूर की बात है, उनकी सेक्सुअलिटी के साथ में भी एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं होता है. जैसे मैम ने डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात किया था, तो ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी या फिर LGBT कम्युनिटी के साथ में एजुकेशन सिस्टम में अभी भी बहुत डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होता है. देयर आर सो मेनी कॉलेजेस और स्कूल जहाँ पे अभी भी स्टिल देयर इज लॉट्स ऑफ बुलिंग विद द LGBTQ कम्युनिटी और विद द ट्रांस कम्युनिटी. उस वजह से वो ड्रॉप आउट्स हो जाते हैं और अपनी पढ़ाई पे फोकस नहीं कर सकते हैं. या फिर जितने भी फॉर्म्स होते हैं कॉलेजेस या स्कूल में, अभी भी वहाँ पे अगर सेक्स का ऑप्शन देखें तो सेक्स के ऑप्शन में सिर्फ मेल या फीमेल का ऑप्शन होता है. देयर इज नो ऑप्शन ऑफ अदर. या फिर एजुकेशन सिस्टम में कहीं पे भी कुछ ऐसी पॉलिसीज नहीं बनी गई हैं जहाँ पे अगर LGBT कम्युनिटी के साथ में कोई बुलिंग होती है, हैरेसमेंट होता है या रैगिंग्स होती हैं, तो उसके खिलाफ वो जाके अप्रोच कर सकें. स्टिल देयर इज एजुकेशन सिस्टम की बात करें तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अनुसार हर एजुकेशन सिस्टम, चाहे फिर वो कॉलेज हो या स्कूल हो, वहाँ पे एक काउंसलर होना चाहिए जहाँ पे अगर एक बच्चे को कोई चीज़ का असमझ हो या बात करना चाहता है, जो अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ या फिर अपने टीचर्स के साथ या साथ में पढ़ने वालों के साथ खुल के बात नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो वो काउंसलर के आके बात कर सकते हैं. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे कितने स्कूल्स या कॉलेजेस में काउंसलर्स हैं, और अगर काउंसलर्स कुछ बड़े कॉलेजेस में होते भी हैं तो उनको भी सेक्सुअलिटी या जेंडर आइडेंटिटी के बारे में नहीं पता होता है. दे आर स्टिल नॉट अवेयर अबाउट इट. वो अभी भी एक टैबू समझते हैं. पीपल नो दैट देयर इज LGBT कम्युनिटी, देयर आर लेस्बियन, गे, बाइसेक्सुअल, ट्रांसजेंडर हु आर जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं या फिर पार्ट है, बट वो उसके बारे में बात नहीं करना चाहते हैं. स्टिल आइस ब्रेकिंग होना अभी भी बहुत बाकी है. देयर इज अ टैबू. People don't talk about it. People know they exist, but they don't want to talk about it. तो फिर उनके राइट्स पे तो काम करना बहुत दूर की बात है. तो आई थिंक हर एजुकेशन सिस्टम पे एक कुछ पॉलिसीज होना चाहिए जहाँ पे जेंडर बेस पे डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ना हो. एंड वी शुड टॉक अबाउट द वेरियस जेंडर्स ऑल्सो. व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन या जेंडर वर्कशॉप एम्पावरमेंट के बारे में, तो वी ओनली स्टिक up to two gender only, that is male and female only. What about the other genders? क्या वो लोग नहीं हैं? क्या उनके राइट्स भी इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं बात करते हैं? तो उसके लिए सबसे पहले हमको there are how many type of genders, उनके इश्यूज क्या हैं, उनके मुद्दे क्या हैं, वो क्या सेक्सुअलिटी के पीपल होते हैं, उनके साथ क्या होता है, वो हमें जानने के बहुत ज़रूरी है. बिकॉज अभी तक बहुत हो गया, वी आर इन 2021 जहाँ हम बहुत ही हर मुद्दे पे खुल के या करके बात करते हैं. तो हमें ये जो टैबू है वो तोड़ के अब बात करना, डायलॉग शुरू करना पड़ेगा अब हमें. बिकॉज एक मेजर एक नंबर्स में लोग, सेक्सुअलिटी के लोग भी सफर स्टिल कर रहे हैं, एंड उनके साथ में बुलिंग होती है, पर कॉलेज में या फिर कहीं पे भी स्कूल में बात ही नहीं होती उनके बारे में, और ना उनके पास कोई ऐसा सपोर्ट सिस्टम रहता है जहां जाके वो अप्रोच कर सके हैं. कुछ ऐसी सिंपथीज होती हैं कि हाँ सिंपथी देते हैं, बट वी डोंट वांट सिंपथी, नाउ वी वांट एम्पैथी. व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इक्विटी, तो फर्स्ट वी शुड स्टार्ट विद द इक्वालिटी, देन एंड ओनली द इक्विटी विल कम. If we see about the history of the LGBT community, you take any Granth or Puran, whether we talk about Ramayana or Mahabharata, there वहाँ पे भी अदर सेक्सुअलिटी के लोग, ट्रांसजेंडर लोग होते थे, और वहाँ पे तब की तो जबकि उस टाइम पे बहुत इज्जत होती थी, बट जैसे कॉलोनियल आया 1860 से ब्रिटिश आए तो वो एक फ्रीडम LGBT कम्युनिटी की छीन ली गई, उन पे 377 लगा दिया गया. बट अगर अब हम 377 की बात करें तो अभी रिसेंटली 6 सितंबर 2018 को इंडिया पे से 377 हटा दिया गया एंड नाउ होमोसेक्सुअलिटी इज लीगल इन इंडिया। बट अगर ये लॉ लाने वाले कौन थे हमारी कंट्री में? ब्रिटिशर्स। और अगर हम इंग्लैंड में देखें, ब्रिटिशर्स ने, उन्होंने खुद ने अपनी कंट्री में 50 साल पहले ये लॉ हटा दिया था, और हम इंडिया के लोग स्टिल उनके लाए हुए लॉ, जो कुछ गलत लॉ भी थे और खराब लॉ भी थे, वो भी 50-60 साल तक वो झेलते आ रहे थे। अभी also we should talk about नालसा जजमेंट। 15 अप्रैल 2014 को सुप्रीम कोर्ट द्वारा एक बहुत ही निर्णायक जजमेंट आया, जिसमें कि थर्ड जेंडर को फर्स्ट टाइम रिकॉग्निशन मिला, जिसमें कहा गया कि मेल फीमेल के साथ अब ट्रांसजेंडर्स भी एक समाज का हिस्सा हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर मैं फॉर्म की बात करूँ तो अगर हम कोई भी फॉर्म भरते टाइम पे वहाँ पे सेक्स का कॉलम देखते हैं, वहाँ मेल और फीमेल के बॉक्सेस होते हैं, उसके साथ में हम अब एक अदर्स का कॉलम भी होना चाहिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट के हिसाब से। और ये सारी चीज़ें सिर्फ फॉर्म्स तक ही क्यों, ये जितने भी गवर्नमेंट या प्राइवेट दस्तावेज हैं, जैसे कि आधार कार्ड, पैन कार्ड, रेशन कार्ड, ये उन पे भी लागू किया जाएगा। लॉ तो पास हो गया सुप्रीम कोर्ट द्वारा, बट इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की बात करें तो अभी भी कहीं पे भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हुआ है। ट्रांसजेंडर्स वी कैन नॉट सी इन एनी स्कूल और इन एनी कॉलेज ट्रांसजेंडर इज स्टडिंग और वर्किंग ऑल्सो। तो उन ट्रांस एम्पावरमेंट पे कब काम शुरू होगा? हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सारथी ट्रस्ट 2006 से नागपुर में काम कर रही है, and it's the only community-based organization in Nagpur which works for the LGBTQ community. We conduct various sensitization programs for the LGBT community in every sector, starting from the private to the government sectors. So I really want to thankful to the Sindhu Mahavidyalaya that this is the second time they are giving chance to talk about this issue, because this is the issue. People know there is an issue, there is harassment, violence with the community, but really they don't want to talk about it. So ऐसे टॉपिक्स में या फिर जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन होना चाहिए, एंड इट शुड स्टार्ट फर्स्टली फ्रॉम द टीचर्स और विद द प्रोफेसर्स, बिकॉज व्हेन वो डील आप करते हो बच्चों के साथ में, जब आप पढ़ाते हो तो आपके पास में वेरियस बच्चे होते हैं अदर डिफरेंट जेंडर्स के या अदर सेक्सुअलिटीज के, तो आपको सबको इक्वली ट्रीट करना है। बट व्हेन यू विल गेट टू नो व्हाट इज जेंडर और जेंडर आइडेंटिटी और सेक्सुअलिटी, देन एंड ओनली यू कैन ट्रीट इट। बिकॉज बहुत सारा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन और वुमेन्स एम्पावरमेंट पे तो ऑफ कोर्स काम करना ही चाहिए, एंड बिकॉज वुमेन्स की वजह से ही हम सभी का अस्तित्व है। बट what about the third gender, what about the transgender community? उन पे तो बेसिक से ABC से काम भी अभी तक शुरू नहीं हुआ है। So an education system is, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि the first key model है कि अगर कोई व्यक्ति अगर एजुकेटेड है तो वो दुनिया से भी लड़ सकता है और अपनी कलाओं से कर सकता है। बट if you talk about the education in the transgender community, it's very less because of the bullying or with the non acceptance from the society or from the family। उस वजह से वो बंदा ड्रॉप आउट हो जाता है और पढ़ ही नहीं पाता है। सो इफ इन द एजुकेशन सिस्टम देयर आर सर्टेन पॉलिसीज फॉर द ट्रांसजेंडर पीपल और फॉर द एलजीबीटी कम्युनिटी दैट आर नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी फ्रॉम द इंस्टीट्यूट और फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स इटसेल्फ, so that would be very helpful। और अगर ये पॉलिसीज भी अगर बनती हैं कुछ, बट कम्युनिटी तक रीच आउट नहीं होती हैं, तो उनको पता नहीं चलता है कि कुछ ऐसे कॉलेज या इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं जो हेल्प करते हैं। रिसेंटली इग्नू ने बताया है कि जैसे वो सारे कोर्सेज जो ट्रांसजेंडर्स कम्युनिटी के लिए फ्री में प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं अंडर दैट CSR डिपार्टमेंट्स। So it is very much required to talk about the transgender community also, or about the LGBT community also. We are all stuck into only two colors, that is blue and pink. What about the other colors? We are rainbow people. We have 7 colors, different shades. So we should talk about each and every color. And what are the challenges basically of the community within the education system, that the non-awareness about the LGBT community or the organization and how to deal with it. The trainings of the counselors regarding the sex, gender identity and sexuality, that should be happen. And हमारा organization हमेशा gender equality पे काम किया है, LGBT कम्युनिटी के लिए काम किया है, एंड आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल दैट आज हमें अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है हमारी बात रखने के लिए। अगर आप में से किसी को कुछ भी सवाल हो या कुछ भी हो तो वो आप हमसे संपर्क कर सकते हैं। हमारा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सारथी ट्रस्ट जो कि लता मंगेशकर हॉस्पिटल में है, 12 से 8 हमारा टाइमिंग है। अगर किसी को भी कुछ भी LGBT कम्युनिटी के बारे में जानना है तो वो पूछ सकते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच। Any questions from anyone, if anyone want to ask?
Thank you so much, sir. Anyone wants to ask any question? Anyone wants to ask? I think Rughwani ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't have actually a question. I had a patient who wanted to change his sex. So I, that type of patient I'm having. So I just want to know, means how to deal with such patient. He's a male and
yes ma'am.
yes.
यस जी मैम, वो एक जैसे सेक्स चेंज ऑपरेशन का एक प्रोसेस रहता है, उस प्रोसेस को SRS बोलते हैं, सेक्स रीअसाइनमेंट सर्जरी। उसके पहले एक GID सर्टिफिकेट लेना पड़ता है साइकेट्रिस्ट की तरफ से, दैट इज जेंडर आइडेंटिटी डिस्फोरिया। तो अगर ये एक सर्टिफिकेट, अगर ये सर्टिफिकेट उसको मिलता है, साइकेट्रिस्ट देते हैं, तो उसके बाद में ये SRS प्रोसेस होता है। अपने नागपुर, अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम बोलते हैं कि नागपुर में एशिया का सबसे बड़ा मेडिकल कॉलेज है, बट वहाँ पे SRS फैसिलिटी अभी भी अवेलेबल नहीं है। तो हाँ, तो पीपल अगर SRS के अगर किसी को कराना है,
get him out of all these things.
यस मैम,
I'll send it to you.
जी मैम, आप उसे हमारे पास भेज दीजिए। SRS प्रोसेस के लिए मुंबई या फिर बाहर में जाके SRS का एक प्रोसेस रहता है। दिस इज नॉट अ वन टाइम सर्जरी कि एक बार जाके कोई सर्जरी करा लिया और सेक्स चेंज करा लिया। इस सर्जरी को तकरीबन 2 साल लग जाता है। उसके लिए वेरी सर्टिफिकेट और हार्मोनल थेरेपीज चलती हैं पूरी, तो वो उसके लिए लग जाता है। सो थैंक यू सो मच मैम, आप रेफर कर सकते हो उसको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन।
Very nice session, very nice.
Thank you so
we
much,
also
ma'am.
got enlightened on so many points we didn't knew actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's our honor that you invite us, ma'am, in your organization, because the dialogue has to be done, ma'am. And thank you so much. We are very grateful to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Same here, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wants to ask anything? Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Really, it was a very, very informative session, sir. Many of the things really even we don't know. So let's think that we should not compare the boy or a girl or what. We are unique. We are superior. So we cannot compare ourselves to anyone. So whether we are a male or female or others, whatever. So we are superior. We have to do our best. That is more important, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for your session. Thank you so much. I would request
I will drop my phone number and our office address and email ID in the chat box.
Sure.
If anyone want to connect with us, please message us or call us.
Sure, sir. Now I would yes, sir. Thank you so much. I would request Dr. Tripti Sakre ma'am to kindly propose vote of thanks. Tripti ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Seema ma'am. At the outset, I, Dr. Tripti Sakre, on behalf of Dada, Ramchand, Bakhru, Sindhu, Mahavidyalaya, Women Empowerment Cell, extend my sincere thanks to Nikun Joshi sir for his valuable inputs on the topic gender stereotype and women's rights. Sir, your scholarly contribution on the topic has helped us discover new horizons of knowledge. The interpretative framework of your thoughts and knowledge has publicly disseminated the ideas beyond boundaries. Sir, Sir, your words of wisdom as you clarified on the types of genders and more visualization on transgenders has certainly broken the stereotypes of the individuals attending the session. The session was literally an eye-opener for all of us and policymakers for escaping the taboos and making them work in this domain. Thank you once again, sir. And to conclude, I wish to share these lines with all. It's not just about one person. It's about thousands of people. It's not just about me. It's about all of us, accepting one another. We all are different. We are a rainbow. I now request Dr. Seema Acchpila ma'am to please take over the session for further proceedings. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tripti ma'am. Thank you, sir, once again. So we'll move towards the valedictory function of today's one-day national webinar. I would inform that we had taken an intercollegiate online essay writing competition, which was the topic was for that was gender sensitization, women in leadership and gender equity. And near about 110 essays we received online, that was in English, Hindi and Marathi. The in charge for the same was Dr. Reema Kamlani under the guidance of the coordinator of SMV-Women cell, Dr. Mrs. Sucheta Mankar. And these essays were judged by Dr. Suman Keswani. I would declare the results now. We have given 2 prizes, that is first and second, and then we have 3 consolation prizes also. The first prize goes to Miss Varnika Gulhane. She is from Prerna College and she has got the prize of 750 rupees. The second prize of 500 rupees goes to Miss Tanu Ikharkar of DRB Sindhu Mahavidyalaya. 3 consolation prizes of 250 each are given to Miss Rupal Wankhede of Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Mr. Bhavesh Maske of Dharampet Science College, and Miss Khushi Mishra of Dr. Ambedkar College. So this was the competition which was held, and congratulations to all the winners and congratulations to the team for successful conduction of the program. One more announcement I would like to make, that the chapters which we were going to have for this book, for ebook, the last date was actually today, but now we have 2 more days. You can submit your books for the ebook, the chapters for the ebook till 16th. That means we have extended 2 more days. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, towards the end, I would like to invite the coordinator of Sindhu, the SMV-Women cell, Dr. Mrs. Sucheta Mankar ma'am, to sum up and propose the formal vote of thanks. Sucheta ma'am, please. Sucheta ma'am.
Unmute karna. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Seema madam. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries, Honorable President Sindhu Vidya Samiti, Shri H.R. Bakhru sir, Honorable Chairman Sindhu Vidya Samiti, Dr. Vinky Rughwani sir, Honorable General Secretary Sindhu Vidya Samiti, Dr. I.P. Keshwani sir, Honorable Secretary College Affairs Sindhu Vidya Samiti, Shri Neeraj Bakhru sir, respected Principal Kasbekar sir, respected guests Lavanya ma'am, Rakesh Kiplani sir and Nikunj Joshi sir, respected vice principals Dr. Tiwani sir, Dr. Thadani sir and Patil sir, member of Women Empowerment Cell, all faculty, researchers, non-teaching staff and my dear students. I, Dr. Sucheta Mankar, convener of today's webinar, take an opportunity to propose formal vote of thanks on this occasion of one-day national webinar on gender sensitization and equity, organized by SMV Women Empowerment Cell, Dada Ramchand Bakhru, Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur. I feel extremely delighted to share this news with you that total number of registration for today's webinar is more than 220. And today's more than 150 participants have joined us virtually and have made this webinar a grand success. But any grand event needs strong, meticulous planning and hard work, and a teamwork add luster to it. I, as a convener of today's national webinar, which is organized by SMV Women Empowerment Cell of this college, feel extremely happy and grateful to one and all associated with it. Firstly, my sincere thanks to Honorable President, Sindhu Hindi Vidya Samiti, Shri H.R. Bakhru sir, for always showering his blessing to Sindhu Parivar. Thank you so much, sir, for your love and concern. I genuinely thanks to Honorable Dr. Vinki Rughwani sir, Chairman of Sindhu Hindi Vidya Samiti, for taking out his precious time and joining us on this occasion. I take an opportunity to generously thank our Honorable General Secretary, Sindhu Hindi Vidya Samiti, Dr. I.P. Keshwani sir, for guiding us time to time to make this event successful. My kind regards are due to Honorable Secretary, College Affairs, Sindhu Hindi Vidya Samiti, Shri Neeraj Bakhru sir, for always motivating us to carry on such significant activities. I sincerely thank our honorable speaker, Dr. S. Lavanya ma'am, Dr. Rakesh Kriplani sir, and Mr. Nikun Joshi sir, who have shared their valuable knowledge and experience in this webinar. I am sure that all participants have benefited themselves from their talk. Friends, it is said that leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. I proudly say that Honorable Principal Dr. S.B. Kasbekar sir has that capacity and power to transform vision into reality. It was Dr. Kasbekar sir visions that has made this national webinar happen, sir. From bottom of my heart, I thank you so much for believing in us. With all sincerity, I recognize the effort of our honorable vice principals, Dr. Tewani sir, Dr. Thadani sir, Patil sir, and IQAC coordinator, Dr. Bhute sir, for their time-to-time help and assistance. I proudly acknowledge the efforts put in by my dynamic women cell team member of this college, who have left no stone unturned to make this webinar a grand and great success. I am very thankful to co-convenor Dr. Leena Chandnani ma'am, Dr. Sangeeta Rughwani ma'am, organizing secretary Dr. Kashmiri ma'am, organizing members Dr. Sucheta Waghaye ma'am, Dr. Reema Kamlani ma'am, and my friend Dr. Seema Acchpila. This program would not have been possible without their support. I am also very thankful to technical team, Dr. Trupti Sakhare and Dr. Ragini Marganwar, and registration team, Dr. Richa Kalyani and Dr. Rupali Vanjari, for making this event successful and their hard work. And also thanks to Mr. Agrawal sir, Naveen Agrawal sir, for their assistance. It is well said, in a life, be a participant, not a spectator. And this quote has proved by our lovely virtual friends who have kept themselves connected with us for such a length of time. My thanks to all the faculty members, teachers, researchers, students, and non-teaching staff for their cooperation and support. I am sure this one-day national webinar on gender sensitization and equity organized by SMV-Women Empowerment Cell, Dada Ramchand, Bakhru, Sindhu Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur, will lay milestone in this field, inspire the scholars, researchers, students, and faculty to work on it, and to some excellent research work giving direction to a new pathway. I would like to congratulate all the winners of intercollegiate essay competition organized by competition for undergraduate student organized by SMV Women Empowerment Cell of Dada Ramchand Bakhru Sindhu Mahavidyalaya. I am also very grateful to Dr. Reema Kamlani ma'am, program in charge, and I am very very much thankful to Dr. Zeenat Kashmiri ma'am for judging the essay competition. There are total number of essays which were submitted by different students from different colleges. It is 110 essay we have collected from other students. Friends, it is well said, the pain of parting is nothing but to the joy of meeting again. With these words, I would like to thank to everyone once again. Thank you one and all. Thank you so much. Seema ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am. And the special thanks goes to the co-convenor, you, that means you, the co-convenor, Mrs. Sujata ma'am, who did all this work and thanked all of us. So thanks to you also. So the feedback link is given in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback. And with the permission, I think Thadani sir is with us. Principal sir, Vice Principal sir, if you kindly permit, we will conclude the program. Should we conclude the program, Rughwani ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks once again to everyone. Thadani sir is here. I think Thadani sir is here. Thadani sir is here. I think Thadani sir is here. Thadani sir is here. Thadani sir will conclude the program, sir. Will conclude the program, sir.